Alright, you and I are about to see why the legendary Iron Wolves are running in terror, while this blonde rookie climbs the tower totally alone. 10 minutes later, the kid lands a clean strike right on the boss. The massive creature staggers because he just pulled off a devastating combo that no one has ever witnessed. What kind of beginner has this insane power? He keeps the pressure high, finally revealing his class's ultimate secret. It is not about dodging, it is about pure, explosive damage. Blood sprays, but he keeps building his combo and teleports behind it. Nobody wants to play this class because it is brutally hard, but when you nail the sequence, the damage scales to heaven. Leaping with a purple energy wave, he charges the beast. In that split second, the boss knows it is dead. The entire chamber drowns in violet light as one epic slash cuts down everything. The boss and the walls are cleanly sliced in half. Dungeon cleared. When the other hunters rush inside, they freeze in absolute shock, staring at the carnage, completely unable to speak. But wait, we have to rewind. How did he get this strong? Earlier, a giant blue boss was destroying a gunslinger player, spamming lightning across the map while the guy desperately fought for survival. The guy thought he secured the win, yelling his final goodbye, only to get instantly smacked across the arena like a bug. That is when our blonde lead offers to help. The blue giant charges her ultimate move, but as soon as the kid grabs aggro, a golden gear locks the gunslinger in place, freezing him completely. The player screams that he never wanted help, but gets vaporized instantly, cursing the kid and blaming him for his tragic death. Now watch closely, because this is the exact moment his gaming life turns deadly. Before he can even process the danger, his entire room is completely vaporized. A stunning, ultra-powerful goddess materializes right in front of him. And guess what? She blames him for everything too, holding him like a tiny toy. Honestly, that sounds a lot like my last relationship. She drops him through a portal, sending him straight into a war zone. Checking his avatar arms, he panics. Explosions are rocking the area as a fiery bird queen commands her massive monstrous army. Shout out to the artist for making the girls look incredible. Anyway, waves of monsters charge, forcing our hero to dive into a river. He has absolutely no idea what is going on. He realizes two things. First, these beasts are straight from his favorite game. Second, he possesses the hands of a dark knight. Yes, my friend, you are trapped inside. Nearby, he spots another player with an elite class. This legendary warrior radiates massive aura and easily takes down the giant fiery bird boss all by himself. But when he tries to shout a warning, that cursed golden gear locks his feet, sealing his voice. The elite player and his companions simply stroll away, completely ignoring him. During the next boss phase, he tries shouting again, but nobody hears a word. The elite guy gets instantly frozen solid while our hero struggles to comprehend this bizarre silence. A monster lunges, but his reflexes kick in, slicing the beast effortlessly. That is when it clicks. He was a god-tier ranker in this game. Even with this trash class, he can absolutely dominate. He knows every single Dark Knight combo by heart. Now, seeing them in person makes executing them simple. Uppercut, dash, slash, straight into a normal strike. The boss summons a massive ice pillar, but his time-stop technique triggers, letting him teleport behind the creature and slice it to pieces. It looks incredibly broken, but that is just the bread-and-butter move for a Dark Knight. Suddenly, space shatters and the gorgeous goddess returns, announcing he has cleared the trial and unlocked his true quest. He dedicated his entire life to this world, possessing supreme talent. Since he accidentally ruined the gunslinger's trial, saving this realm is now his sole responsibility. A dark corruption is spreading through the realm, threatening to wipe out everyone. Luckily, the generous goddess offers him a powerful reward, letting him choose from several legendary items. I know what you're thinking, go for the overpowered weapons, right? Well, he gets creative, picking a crown that lets him wear gear 10 levels above his tier, sending him back in. The goddess vows to watch his progress. As he fades, he swears he will make her kneel before him one day. Our hero follows the elite player, then grinds items in the woods, knowing he needs 38,095 fame to unlock the dimensional gate. That is his only ticket home. The next day, he arrives at the massive player hub of Hendenmeyer. While walking around, he spots a girl named Chobong boldly challenging everyone to street duels. Once again, the artist deserves an award for these character designs. He approaches her, and she immediately senses his strength, asking for a duel. I am definitely down for this. He is blushing hard. But to onlookers, she is just an NPC, so they think he is some weirdo trying to romance artificial intelligence. Embarrassed, he flees to the guild hall. Locals give him death glares, but he walks to the elf receptionist to ask about weird occurrences. She dryly notes that he is the strangest thing around. Suddenly, the renowned Iron Wolves enter, mocking new players. Our main character recognizes them instantly from his time playing the game. He knows a certain pink-haired character shouldn't be here yet unless two major dungeons were cleared. Is this a glitch caused by the corruption? As the group leaves, he decides to tail them. Watching them head toward the tower, he considers warning them, but armored guards block him from getting any closer without clearance. He remembers that passes are required, but the vendor is out of town. Suddenly, a mysterious high-level player walks up, bribes the guards, and heads straight inside the tower. He sneakily slips inside with the guy, but then the stranger says something shocking. He has actually been watching our hero. The high-level player laughs, teasing him for shamelessly flirting with game NPCs in broad daylight. Extremely flustered, our hero declines his offer to carry him through, instantly leaving the party. Elsewhere, a mysterious figure slams their monitor in frustration. Back at the tower, our hero begins climbing alone, only to see the elite squad sprinting back down, completely terrified. Seeing their panic, our main character rushes down the stone steps with incredible speed. He moves through the narrowing corridors with sharp agility. Knowing the spreading corruption will soon consume the rest of the tower's defenders, he pushes forward in a hurry, completely unaware of a monster lurking right behind him. The creature strikes directly at his face. Startled, he manages to dodge, escaping with only a minor scratch. Sensing a follow-up strike, he reaches into his dimensional inventory, instantly drawing his sword to slice the dragon-like creature in half. Suddenly, a swarm of them drops from the ceiling, forcing him to deflect their claws. He realizes he let his guard down too early inside this treacherous dungeon. This whole tower is a deadly maze. Slicing through another beast, he pushes forward to face their massive, high-level leader. The beast stabs with its trident, but he overpowers it and delivers a brutal kick. You and I are going to have to wait to see what happens next. All right, you and I are jumping right back into the action, where our main character is currently pulling off some insane moves to distract the beast while another slides in from the flank. Using a sharp parry, he avoids the strike, but with the pressure rising, he teleports right above the monster. Seeing a swarm of flying monsters heading his way, he cancels his attack animations once again. This trick allows him to warp safely away from both of them, though he secretly admits things are looking bad. With so many enemies flooding the area, there is absolutely no room to counterattack. The beast charges at him again while our hero tries to unleash a dark slash. But the creature is just too fast, dodging the strike and slamming him against the wall. To make matters worse, his magic points are completely drained. He kicks himself for skipping his leveling phase when he had the chance. But just as hope fades, a sudden booming noise echoing through the room catches his attention. One of the local traps activates with a bright flash, unleashing a massive wall of fire that engulfs the entire monster army, leaving them heavily injured and totally wide open. That is when he realizes this burning statue is actually a hidden mechanism. Suddenly, he remembers reading a strange inscription written right at the base of the monument. Bolting at full speed while the monsters scream and rage behind him, he pushes forward. After a frantic sprint, he spots exactly what he was looking for: a recovery magic circle. He lunges forward, knowing he just needs a single touch to activate it before they strike. In an instant, blood splatters across the sky as the monsters are caught in a violent blast. The warp space from his teleportation completely shredded those beasts. Feeling fully restored, he looks at his system notifications and notices that he managed to level up during the chaos. Now he wants to abuse this mechanic to boost his stats even further. Two dragon monsters charge at him, but he easily deletes them from existence using his powerful Black Cross skill. Another beast watches this unfold, trembling in pure fear. Meanwhile, Jin's son teleports directly into his blind spot. With 3 lightning-fast thrusts, he puts it down for good before executing a brutal spin attack on the rest. Now pay attention here, because this is where his investment pays off. He feels like a legendary main character right now, and choosing that king's contract was easily the best decision to skyrocket his power. The golden-haired warrior continues his bloody rampage with a massive grin, until a gigantic shadow suddenly rises. Swiping its massive tail, it stares at the bodies of its fallen allies. Our hero realizes he should have grinded earlier since his current level is high enough to fight back. This is the Dragonoid Nest, and their commander, Lachius, roars about a filthy human trespassing in his sky kingdom. He orders his minions to purge the human stains from his floor. The boss lunges forward with his trident, but our hero dodges, warps behind him, and slices his leg, bringing him down. Following up with a dark slash, he cuts the beast right in half. But seeing another foe approaching, he uses his signature teleportation to slip away. Appearing right behind his target with a smug smile, he mocks its slow speed and prepares to land a finishing blow. The monster sweats in sheer terror, but instead, our hero completely whiffs and flies right past the beast, crashing headfirst into a nearby pillar. The entire battlefield freezes in awkward silence as he laughs off the massive embarrassment. Taking advantage of this stupid mistake, the annoyed monster punches him dead in the face. Sometime later, we see him back to slicing up enemies. He decides to target the aerial snipers hovering above, but they all swarm him at once. Suddenly, a massive explosion rocks the battlefield. The monsters emerge from the smoke, hoping they finally blew him to pieces, but our hero is already behind them. Calling the annoying insects out, he leaps into the air to crush them. He misses the mark, smashing his crushing leap straight into the hard ground. Seizing the opening, the beasts land a brutal uppercut to his chin. I know what you're thinking, but the combo system actually lets you skip cooldowns if you chain attacks perfectly. This mechanic is a true test of skill, separating the casuals from the pros. Admitting he played like a total noob, he realizes he wasted his skills while a deadly trident comes flying straight at his head. His survival instincts kick in just in time to block the attack, reminding him this is a real-life or death fight. But the monster outsmarts him, wrapping its tail around his leg and slamming him down. He quickly rolls away to dodge a vicious trident thrust, flexing his leg muscles to prepare for his next explosive counterattack. He grabs the lizard's tail, pulling with all his might to throw the beast off balance. He rushes in to finish it, but another monster stabs him directly in the back. Our main character barely rolls away, realizing he almost met an early grave. The culprit is none other than the roaring boss of this dungeon. The boss lets out a deafening roar and charges with absolute fury. Our hero prepares his defense, unleashing a massive shockwave to push him back, but the giant boss casually defiles the attack with a single swipe of his arm. In the end, he knew a final boss wouldn't go down without a massive bloody fight. He barely blocks a heavy strike, completely stunned by the boss's speed as a flurry of attacks forces him to dodge. The monster fights relentlessly, showing absolutely no signs of cooldown limits. Feeling completely cornered, he grips his weapon tightly. But this is exactly what the monster wanted, letting out a heavy breath before unleashing a devastating blast of lightning at him. The devastating blast leaves him badly burned and battered, launching him straight into a nearby stone pillar. Gasping for air, he crashes hard against the wall, feeling absolute agony in every muscle. He looks up, desperately searching for a way out. Even with the massive beast looming over him, he refuses to give up. Gripping his sword, he charges forward, enduring the pain to land a swift cut. But the boss effortlessly blocks it. Weakened and exhausted, his feet slip as he tries to execute a spin attack. He falls flat on his face while the boss mocks his pathetic display, raising its weapon to ask if this playground game is finally over. Preparing the final blow, our hero teleports away, whispering about his third move. Confused by the strange whisper, the angry boss charges forward, demanding to know what he just muttered. But our hero charges back with pure rage, shouting that this was his fourth move before slamming his powerful fists into the massive beast. This time, the boss is completely shaken by the raw impact of his strike, followed by a crushing leap that slams him down. The beast panics, wondering where this sudden, overwhelming power is coming from. But our hero knows the real secret to combos isn't just about dodging attacks, it's about unleashing insane, explosive damage on your target. The beast screams in agony as the shockwaves rattle its bones. It attempts to strike back with an electrical aura, but our hero easily dodges with a deadpan face. And that's where we leave it for now. With his fifth strike dealing over 200% damage, you and I both know this boss is in for absolute destruction. Alright, you and I are about to witness the climax of an epic battle as his blade glows with pure, accumulated power. He unleashes a massive energy wave all at once, completely terrifying the beast as it senses its imminent death. Outside, birds fly off, clueless of the coming danger. A brilliant purple light begins to burst through the cracks of the marble walls. Our main character unleashes a colossal finishing strike, completely shattering the surrounding environment just to put this unfortunate creature down for good. Utterly exhausted, his body collapses flat on the cold ground, marking the moment he successfully cleared the entire dragonoid nest all by himself. Out of nowhere, voices approach his knights demand to know where that massive racket came from. But they freeze the second they spot the endless piles of monster corpses. They yell for their vice captain, shouting that someone is still alive in there. Rewinding just a bit, we see our exhausted boy collapse, muttering that the fight was way harder than he expected, and wishing he had someone around to carry his tired body out. Suddenly, a warm, glowing light wraps around his entire body. He realizes he leveled up just in time, with the goddess fully restoring his health. Standing back up, Jinstone decides it is time to grab his loot and head to the next floor. But as he looks around, his jaw drops. There is absolutely no loot left behind. Before he can even process this disaster, a heavy spear suddenly presses against his shoulder as a harsh voice demands to know if he truly cleared the room. Our main character instantly recognizes the voice echoing from behind him. It is the stern old man questioning his identity and presence here, the infamous vice captain, Hartz von Kruger. Pay close attention here, because spears are instantly aimed at his throat from every single angle. As they wait for his response, this grumpy commander demands our guy identify himself, explain his credentials, and reveal how he knows his name. Our hero stays quiet, thinking it is impossible not to recognize him given his legendary bad temper. After all, he is the only non-playable character with a negative personality stat. Seeing that the boy won't talk, the old man announces himself as the vice captain of the Iron Wolves to assert his authority. The commander questions how on earth he bypassed security. The blonde hero claims he received a special entry pass from Roger Levan, leaving the dark-skinned vice captain highly skeptical and demanding to see it immediately. But with a cheeky grin, our main character admits he does not actually have it on him. He claims his friend walked off with it, completely baffling the old man. He gestures down the stairs, indicating his buddy is just a bit further down. The commander agrees to let him go only after verifying the pass, which deeply annoys Jinstone for being so ridiculously stubborn. He warns of severe punishment if our hero is lying, and Jinstone silently regrets ever crossing paths with this strict old soldier. He has zero time to waste because that other player visiting the tavern means she has already cleared the dark vestibule. Right now, that dangerous user must be reaching the final floor, the castle chamber. Along the way, she will recruit powerful allies, and among them is Bon Valistjet, the real threat to everyone. If she reaches the final floor, she will directly confront this man. If he is indeed corrupted, everything will spiral out of control. Sensing the urgency, Jinstone abruptly stops walking. The guard immediately notices this and demands to know what he is doing. But our hero swiftly draws his sword, preparing a dark slash technique. The old man is shocked, wondering where the blonde was even hiding that massive sword. He charges ahead with a spear strike, but our protagonist deflects it effortlessly, vanishing into thin air and reappearing elsewhere as tension grips the room. The veteran commander dismisses it as cheap parlor tricks and vows to capture him. But our hero knows he is cornered and decides to make a wild leap. He teleports once more to gain some distance and bolt. Suddenly, the entire squad of knights begins chasing him in a hilariously chaotic pursuit. Keeping up with his sword practice definitely paid off, but as he checks his quick access inventory, the old captain suddenly hurls a spear directly at his head. Now, you and I both know our main character isn't going down without a fight. He grabs a bomb from his inventory screen just as the spear strikes it midair, causing a massive explosion that leaves the old vice captain coughing and cursing through the smoke. The old man charges forward anyway, calling it a pathetic, desperate trick. But his eyes suddenly go wide as he notices a mysterious black liquid puddle on the floor. Far ahead, our hero is already lighting a match, having finished coating the entire path in oil. The soldiers panic, screaming at him to stop this madness. They call him a crazy terrorist and vow to execute him next time, but our hero just tells them to relax. After all, it is just a loud flashbang that causes zero actual damage, a classic beginner combo. He never expected to use these basic items, silently thanking Yushia for the handy gift. Soon, we see the sun beginning to set in the sky. Realizing he has wasted far too much time, our boy desperately searches the area until he spots the female fighter up ahead. But to his shock, she immediately senses his presence. He steps out to face her, only to realize she has another skilled adventurer traveling by her side. Anzo warns they must quickly find a safe zone, but his companion coldly remarks that anyone who values their life would have stayed away, warning our young hero not to get in their way. Jinstone immediately recognizes Ponvalis and is relieved to have found him, but a sudden shout from behind completely ruins the moment. He turns around to see the angry old captain he just escaped from. Totally furious, the man yells that taking a bomb to the face was incredibly disrespectful and demands immediate payback. The adventurers ask what is going on, and our hero realizes he is in deep trouble. The old captain barks orders for them to seize this annoying intruder immediately. As both sides draw their weapons, our protagonist panics, realizing he is completely trapped. The enraged captain glares at him, warning him to prepare for the worst. This gives our boy a brilliant idea. He suddenly points to the sky, shouting that a naked flying man is about to pee on them. Everyone looks up, and using that split-second distraction, our clever hero dives straight off the edge, plunging down multiple stories to escape. The knights look down in absolute disbelief and confusion. Meanwhile, our hero slams his sword deep into the wall, successfully sliding down the stone surface. He aims for the correct floor, lunges through an opening, and lands safely on his feet, panting heavily from the extreme adrenaline rush. He notes that he managed to stay ahead of them, and thankfully, the corruption has not taken hold yet. Whatever they are planning, he must find a way to purify them before the next dungeon. Up above, the female fighter comments on how incredibly bizarre that runaway boy was. Her companion tells her to just forget about him, suggesting they take a quick break before heading to the next floor. A bit later, we see our exhausted protagonist breathing heavily, swearing he never wants to see stairs again. As he searches for the fighter until a loud shout interrupts the quiet, our hero rushes forward, only to witness the shocking sight of this powerful man about to attack his own teammate. He panics, thinking he arrived far too late, but it turns out the guy was actually just giving his friend a friendly shoulder massage. Well, we can finally take a breath knowing everything is still okay for now. What an absolutely wild ride. Let's dive into this wild story where our main character is keeping a close watch to see this guy's true colors. But honestly, he is already starting to doubt his own suspicions, especially since the guy has not hurt a single non-playable character or even the user. Plus, his leadership as captain really shows when he avoids micromanaging the knights and lets them hold their own formation. Actually, everything played out completely backward, because this dude seems totally normal. With the team deciding to sweep this floor to find the guild master faster, our main character figures it is time to team up and tag along with Bond from here. Suddenly, that tall-booted guy walks right up to the female fighter, flashing a smug grin. But when he starts reaching his hand out toward her, our main character goes on high alert all over again. Luckily, he acts like a decent guy and just says he will see her later. He still feels incredibly shady, but since he has not made a hostile move yet, he is just playing along with the game's original script. The main character quickly realizes Bayon might actually be clean, which raises a huge question: why on earth are the knights even here? Going by his gaming knowledge, Jensen never expected these knights to show up. But with zero visibility to the outside, the game might have just skipped over that detail. Just like that, the two men find themselves facing a horde of reanimated monsters, ready to tear them apart. As they brace for impact, they joke about how the dungeon owner lacks hospitality, meaning they will just have to force their way to the boss. Our main character starts piecing the clues together. Pausing to think, he suddenly remembers the special card he snatched after taking down the last enemy. Looking at the original lore, this non-playable character is not supposed to die here. That means the corruption is not targeting him, it is coming from the massive boss monster dominating the entire tower. The more he analyzes it, the more the pieces fall into place. Right then, the knight leader asks if that fool Hearts is still hunting for the blonde kid, and gets a quick nod. This is a massive headache because everyone is chasing after the exact same target. He has got to find a way to fix this mess, and fast. Watch closely, we are looking at another floor that looks exactly like a giant aquarium. A warrior grips his katana, slashing a monster so fast we can barely even see. As the beast collapses, a woman walks up, praising his legendary swordsmanship. The old man tells her not to tease his senior citizen, noting that since they have climbed this high, they must be getting close to their destination. Suddenly, the bald warrior tells Chiron to step aside, immediately unleashing a devastating, high-powered attack that rips right through the hallway. The shocked woman asks GSD what is going on, and he admits he thought it was just a random monster. Whoever just blocked that insane strike must be incredibly powerful. Meanwhile, Ginstone is struggling to control his phantom arm, sweating because that old-timer nearly ended his life with one single move. But the duo is genuinely impressed by this young adventurer tailing them, and that is when our boy steps up to ask for a huge favor. They realize this kid seems to know exactly who they are. Our main character knows these two would make the ultimate high-level allies, so he straight up asks to join their party. The woman instantly shut him down, asking why they should trust a complete stranger. Our main character expected this, knowing that turning their suspicion into trust would be his ticket to success. He knows there is only one winning play here. To prove he is useful, he boldly addresses the old man by his legendary title, the Great Sword Master of Dukan. The woman is utterly shocked that he knows the old man's name, while our main character celebrates his incredible memory. That identity was supposed to be a total secret, but the old-timer quickly shuts him down, saying he is dead wrong. Realizing his mistake, our main character remembers that while such a legend exists, that is not his current name. He remembers that title was actually for the Ghost Knight from the game guide. Maybe a recent update changed the lore. But before he can think, a pack of monsters creeps up from behind, and the old man calmly notes that they have company. Our main character desperately tries to recall the game's lore before it is too late. You and I both know he is totally grasping at straws here. Desperate, he calls him the great son of the Tower of Despair. Sharon thinks he is wrong again, saying they need to move on. Suddenly, the old man releases a monstrous, crushing aura from his body, vaporizing the oncoming beasts with his sheer presence alone. The mage panics and tries to call out to GSD, But the old warrior ignores her, turning his gaze to the blonde kid and demanding to know who he really is, completely terrifying our main character. He did not even know if he was right. Swallowing hard, the blonde kid feels the heavy tension in the air and nervously introduces himself as Jin's son, telling them they can call him that. A bit later, walking alongside these two powerful figures, he has to admit that the old gentleman was way more direct and straightforward than he originally anticipated. The woman realizes she has never seen GSD this serious before, recalling how the boy begged to join them as an apprentice. Honestly, this whole act was necessary so he could justify tag teaming with them, and the old guy accepted without any fuss. This lady is genuinely shocked that her companion agreed so easily. Intrigued, she approaches our main character and playfully addresses him as Sir. She compliments his good looks, mentioning she has some premium tea leaves back at her guild. Smiling, she asks if they should take some time to get to know each other better. But our main character instantly shuts her down, saying he has zero interest in visiting the Tower of Despair and asks if she thinks he is actually that gullible. The woman suggests they could still partner up to trade and sell information, but our boy shuts her down again, making her seriously annoyed. Our main character knows he needs to watch his step around an information broker like her. But suddenly, something catches his eye, and he asks if she happens to have a piece of the colorless cube. Sharon pulls it out, and the main character immediately snatches it right from her hand, making her yell at him to give it back. But the old man tells them to stop their annoying bickering because they have finally arrived. Our main character recognizes the Lord's Palace boss room, while the woman mutters about charging him for the items. Right then, heavy footsteps approach from the shadows, catching both groups completely off guard by this sudden encounter. As they introduce themselves, the leader wonders which way to head. Suddenly, a massive, crushing pressure floods the entire area, forcing the captain to draw out his blade. Gripping his sword tight, he wonders what kind of power they are facing. He gasps as his eyes snap open, spotting something flying right at him. Reacting instantly, he parries the incoming blow just in time to avoid taking any damage. His partner quickly asks if he is okay, and he mutters that things would be easier if he had shown up sooner. Suddenly, a massive blue-skinned entity appears, introducing himself as Sighart, the Lord of Light. He demands to know who dared invade his domain, declaring himself the guardian under the absolute authority of the Dragon Lord. He commands them to clear out immediately. Meanwhile, looking at the player's screen, we can actually see their mouse cursor frantically clicking to skip past this entire monologue as fast as possible. Instantly, the fighter dashes straight toward the boss at breakneck speed, shocking everyone. The Knight Leader realizes they cannot afford to fall behind and orders his squad to move. Suddenly, our main character pops up to help, and the vice captain instantly recognizes him. And that is where we leave it. Our favorite little blonde troublemaker is back to cause total chaos. Alright, you and I are about to dive into a wild situation. He decides to kill him instantly, but an old man steps in, claiming Jim Sung is his apprentice. It turns out to be a big misunderstanding, so he suggests sorting it out later because their current situation is looking pretty bad. Naturally, the man gets totally annoyed, but the boss steps in, declaring they have to work together now. If they want to escape this place alive, they need to drop the drama and fight for real. Right on cue, the monsters start rushing them at full speed. With a swift swing of his blade, the old man tears through them. The mage backs him up with effortless spells, kicking off an absolute war zone inside that chaotic hall. As weapons clash, our main character takes a second to analyze the situation. He is glad for the backup, but since he originally planned to just watch, he wonders why so many enemies are spawning. Ultimately, the game forces a solo boss fight dynamic. Those glowing ruby pillars seem to define the boundaries of the arena where you have to go head-to-head with the beast. It seems outside players cannot see inside the barrier, which actually gives our boy a brilliant idea. Suddenly, the boss crashes hard against the floor, screaming in absolute agony after taking a massive, devastating blow. But she is not done yet, lunging forward once more with her fist clenched tightly for another strike. She delivers another earth-shaking strike, and suddenly, every single enemy freezes in place. The allies are completely shocked, wondering if this means the boss has finally been put down for good. They start asking each other if it is actually over. But then, the monster's arm suddenly twitches, and a blinding wave of light completely floods the entire floor of the tower. The boss rises again, declaring his master ordered him to protect this sanctuary. To stop him, they will have to face being burned to absolute ashes. Now pay attention here, because this is where the tension spikes. While the vice captain warns against jinxing them, the team wonders if this beast is actually immortal. But the blonde knows this is only phase 1, and nothing is going off script. They realize the monster is drawing power from the floating castle itself, meaning they have to destroy the magic circles to trigger the next phase. At that, she barks orders for a full retreat, while our main character quietly smiles, realizing everything is playing out perfectly. The player in charge immediately targets the floating castle, creating a new path for the quest. As the monsters guarding the magic circle rally together, another crucial stage of the mission is successfully wrapped up. Our main character takes note of all this, watching the beasts get ripped apart one after another. In no time at all, every single quest requirement is completed with zero hassle. With that done, they head back to face the area boss. The final objective is actually the most straightforward of all, taking down Seared. Our protagonist watches the showdown closely, determined to secure the highly coveted card. The beast charges forward with everything it has, and the warrior matches its speed, aiming to finish this fight right now. Both prepare for an epic collision of energy, triggering a massive explosion that can be seen from outside the structure. With the Sky Castle officially cleared, the player realizes it is time to sit back and watch the incoming story cutscene. Moments later, the girl expresses her hope that nothing goes wrong with those massive magic circles. Suddenly, the creature's blue flames begin to flicker out, signaling its defeat. Our main character stands right behind it, eagerly waiting to claim his loot. However, he is shocked to find absolutely nothing on a beast that was supposed to be corrupted. Looking outside, a flock of birds heads straight for the peak of the tower, only to crash headfirst into the shining protective barrier guarding the top. The group looks on, deeply impressed by the sight. Since their path is completely blocked, they begin to wonder what this strange force could actually be. Okay, let's pause for a second, because this is getting weird. The party is hunting for the apostles, fearing corruption will ruin everything. Yet, the Sky Castle quest ends, and he still hasn't received a single letter. He begins to suspect that he might have overlooked something crucial, but his thoughts are interrupted when a girl suddenly calls out, frantically searching for her captain. Our protagonist is caught off guard by an unexpected visitor. It is Lenny, and she spots him immediately as he starts descending the stairs. When asked why she's here, she boasts about being the captain's right hand, claiming she needs to stay close to secure a promotion. Apparently, she was delayed from joining her leader earlier, all because of some idiot holding her back. The man up above realizes there is nothing they can do now, just as the pink-haired girl finally spots her leader standing up there. Understanding the stakes, our main character holds out his hand to stop her. She asks why he is blocking her, and he warns that her presence would completely break an active dialogue event. All he needs to do is keep her from moving any further, but she misinterprets his focus, getting flustered and asking why he is staring so intensely at her. He realizes this glitch is the exact reason he found zero loot in the Sky Castle, so he begins pushing the young woman away. If he can just get her down to the first floor, the card should finally drop, and things can get back on track. Suddenly, the deep cry of a flying whale echoes through the sky. The blonde suggests heading back to report their findings, while the old man senses strange vibrations in the air. Suddenly, an object is thrown from the flying whale, and everyone realizes it is hurtling toward them at terrifying speed. The cavalry leader instantly recognizes this as a worst-case scenario. While the pink-haired girl wonders what is going on, our main character calmly notes that this is just part of the final event. Specifically, that object is an emergency pod. The non-player character, Olia, is about to crash land right in front of them to trigger the next major storyline. They do not need to panic, but they definitely need to clear the area, because that thing is coming down right now. Our main character maintains his calm, while the young lady panics, wanting to warn the captain and run. However, the blonde knows there is no real danger here, so there is no need to flee. She refuses to budge, forcing Jim Sung to physically intervene as the pod flies straight at them. He tries to reassure everyone that the trajectory should keep them safe from a direct hit, at least initially, but as soon as he looks back, he realizes how wrong he is. He wonders why the pod is drifting, since it should not be taking this path. This must be the actual corruption of the Sky Castle showing its face. He instantly opens his inventory, draws his blade, and explains he is not trying to restrain the girl, but rather keep her safe. Running is no longer an option, leaving him with only one choice. He has to destroy this falling object himself. Then he recalls the specific requirements to unlock the upcoming mech storyline. The narrative must remain intact, meaning Lenny cannot fall, and the survival pod has to land safely without a scratch. Zooming in, we can see someone struggling at the controls of the pod, actively altering the course of the story in real time. Our main character refuses to let his story end like this. Recalling bitter memories of everyone calling him a quitter, veins bulge on his forehead as a powerful wave of determination surges through him. An explosion rocks the sky-high tower, and that is where we leave it. Trust me, you will want to see what rises next. Alright, you and I are about to watch one crazy ride. This airship finally obeyed our hero's direct strike. His name is Baek Jin's son, and like everything else in his life, he is not about to give up. He will clear his own path forward, no matter the cost. Lenny stares at him in absolute shock, wondering how he stopped it, while quickly checking the main character's inventory. She asks what he just threw. Turns out, it is an explosive fruit from the tree of heaven that detonates on impact. But as the ship starts plummeting back to Earth, our main character yells at it to stop and hurls another fruit. The fruit hurtles toward the metal exhaust hole at insane speed, shattering its fragile shell on impact exactly like he planned. The explosion delivers the massive boost needed to push the vessel even higher, leaving the enemies below wondering what that sudden noise was. To their horror, they realize the rising airship is undergoing a rapid chain reaction of explosions. Meanwhile, our hero sprints like crazy, continuously lobbing one fruit after another to keep pushing the ship upward. He realizes this reckless method is the only way he can pull this off. To wrap things up, he hurls two fruits simultaneously to get maximum power. Lenny watches in disbelief, desperately trying to comprehend what this madman is doing. Our hero grabs yet another explosive fruit, throwing it just as they near the very peak. But suddenly, his hands come up empty. Looking down at his status menu, a cold realization hits him. He has completely run out of explosive fruit with those rapid throws. Instantly, the massive airship begins plunging back toward the dark abyss. Lenny realizes they have lost all thrust and they are about to free fall. But wait, she spots something flying in the sky. Now keep your eyes on the screen here, because this is wild. It is our hero with an item in his mouth, shattering it to execute a sequence of hyper-efficient teleports. Believing this crazy move gives him a 100% chance of success, he slams his sword directly against the vessel's metal hull. At that moment, he crushes his cube item, instantly triggering 200% of its power. With veins bulging and dark energy swirling around him, he prepares a devastating explosion. He unleashes his ultimate dark catastrophe, creating the massive blast needed to launch the ship straight to its destination. The overwhelming force practically makes the vessel fly, though our main character grunts in immense pain, praying this will be enough. Down below, the cavalry captain screams at his men to take cover immediately. With the crash, the burning airship finally lands exactly where it needs to be. As the onlookers stare in utter confusion, our hero smiles, knowing his desperate plan actually worked. Holding the mysterious letter, the young man smiles, relieved that the corruption is finally cleansed. But his joy is short-lived as he remembers his legendary weapon was completely shattered during that massive blast, leaving him with nothing. Suddenly, out of nowhere, a hand tightly grips his arm, catching him totally off guard as he did not expect company. It is Linny, the girl from earlier, staring at him intensely as she declares that their debts are now officially settled. Our hero sighs, admitting he did not expect the recoil from his dark explosion to be so intense. Blaming his cheap sword, he realizes he desperately needs a new weapon, but he is completely broke and out of items. Thankfully, leveling up really paid off since it unlocked that dark explosion skill when he needed it most. However, casting such high-tier abilities requires rare items, specifically a cleaning cube fragment. These are known as FCL moves, which pack insane power, and he is going to need a lot more of them for future battles. For now, he must watch his step and play it smart. With no other choice, he must head to the Principality of Beller, home of the legendary Mage Guild. Rewinding to a day ago at the Tower of Heaven, we see our battered hero questioning everything. The girl argues that since the blonde hero stopped the falling vessel from crushing her, she returned the favor by saving his life. And yeah, I know what you are thinking. He owes her big time. But our guy just wants to tell the guild master she snuck in, prompting her to threaten to end his life if he snitches. Despite her tough threats, she suddenly blushes like a totally lovesick schoolgirl. Before he can react, she steps forward and playfully flicks him right on the forehead. She runs off, yelling that she expects him at the harbor entrance this Saturday at 6 o'clock for a dinner date. Our main character stands there completely shocked, realizing he just secured a romantic date right after clearing a dungeon. Honestly, life is treating him pretty well. Our protagonist soon greets the guild's Grand Master and Vice Master, who tell him to drop the formalities since they are only here to say goodbye. An irritated officer mutters how disappointed he is that he cannot execute our hero on the spot. But as the captain walks past, he whispers Jim Zum's name, secretly plotting their next encounter. Our hero recalls the name Bon Valistad. While the man was not corrupted, remembering his legendary lore makes Jin realize just how dangerous he is and why it is best to stay far away. Suddenly, he bumps right into the mysterious old man from earlier, who gives him another intense, knowing stare. Our hero stumbles back, catching his breath from the sudden fright. But the old man simply smiles, praising the youth for his incredible performance at the Tower of Heaven. Our blonde hero expresses his gratitude for the guidance, and the elder waves it off, saying he only helped because the boy needed direction. Still, He notes there's one vital message left to deliver. Jin quickly warns him to keep the true name of the son of the Tower of Despair a secret, while the old man decides to trust the dark shadow energy surrounding him. The elder departs, leaving him with the mage. The female mage realizes the old man wanted her to overhear their conversation, though she scoffs and claims to have zero interest in it. She turns to our hero, demanding to know if he was the one who intentionally steered the falling airship toward them. He could have easily let it blow up, but instead, he delivered it right to them, almost as if he wanted them to find the survivor inside. The boy falls completely silent, staring directly back at her. But she tells him he does not need to give her an answer right this second. A warrior has his pride, after all, and she tells him he is welcome to bargain with her whenever he is ready. Our protagonist soon arrives at the guild, amazed by its colossal size. Walking down the grand corridors, he is blown away by the scale. He expected a tiny shop based on the basic game graphics he used to see on his computer screen. Jin wonders if trading with this mysterious woman is a safe bet, since all he wants is critical information. With world-threatening corruption and the goddess herself involved, he cannot be careless. But what does he have to offer? With no weapons and zero gold, his only asset is his meta-knowledge of this game. Just then, the guild mistress approaches, noting he arrived much faster than she anticipated. She asks if he is ready to talk, but our hero's eyes immediately lock onto the companion standing beside her. Introduced as Iris, she cryptically reveals she already knows him. He wonders how that is even possible. Recognizing her as a divine NPC from the Mage Guild, he can't help but wonder if she truly knows his secrets. Suddenly, he feels an incredibly hostile pressure radiating from her. A massive wave of dark shadow energy completely envelops her body, taking a cautious step forward. He wonders if what he is seeing is actually possible. He stares with a determined gaze, calling her the Singer of Fortune. Trust me, you and I are going to want to see what happens next. All right, let's jump right into this mystery. He wonders if she can read his future, especially since she already knows his destined role in this bizarre world. This sharp question catches her off guard, making her realize he is someone who constantly digs deeper than anyone else. A soft melody plays, signaling his future, prompting her to back away while murmuring that everything is destined after all. Hearing those words, our main character squeezes her hand, instantly recognizing the phrase as a massive, positive game cue. It looks like he is playing his cards exactly right, analyzing every single detail of this encounter. But then, the High Mage gets suspicious. When he asks what is wrong, she mentions she was only ever given that mysterious woman's name. Even with that excuse, he knows she possesses real foresight. After all, the Grand Master knew about the airship and Iris's true identity beforehand. It makes him seriously wonder who this powerful old man actually is behind that blindfold. For a split second, he panics, thinking he blew his cover. But he quickly steals his resolve and steps forward, radiating pure confidence. Pulling her aside for a private talk, he decides it is finally time to play his biggest card. Knowing he has no other choice, he boldly claims to be a prophet who can see and rewrite the future itself. That, he explains, is how he gets the highly valuable intel he wants to sell her. A few days fly by, taking us straight to the Mages Guild. Suddenly, a frantic figure dashes down the corridors, nearly knocking over massive bookshelves in their mad rush. They fly through the halls until they slam right into the Guildmaster's office door, where our main character is currently waiting. A panicked girl bursts inside, shouting for the guild leader because a major emergency has just occurred. Their star target has completely vanished. She gasps out that Lorien has gone missing. This immediately worries the guild master, confirming that the troublesome girl has indeed vanished without a trace. They present a magic stone used for communication, but there has been absolute silence since yesterday. Frantic, the guild master orders an immediate search of the surrounding areas to track her down before it is too late. Now, pay close attention to this next part. This is the exact moment his master plan starts to unfold perfectly. She is a mage far more famous for her snobby attitude than her actual skills. Luckily, he already knows exactly where she will end up. As the sunlight streams through the window, the guild master stares at him, wondering if he is completely insane or somehow behind this disappearance. Predicting the fates of legendary figures like Iris and the Grand Master is one thing, but this is a whole new level. But remembering how he handled the airship disaster, she realizes he truly does foresee the future, even if his methods are incredibly sly. Since this crisis takes place right after the Sky Tower event, he knows he does not need to stress too much. Still, the clever mage clearly is not ready to hand over her full trust just yet. He apologizes for the interruption and advises her to seek out Kargan immediately. She instantly recognizes the name, linking him to the infamous dark elf living in the city. She cannot fathom how a sketchy dark elf could help, but our main character insists it is crucial. He drops a cryptic hint, telling her she will need a bunch of daisies very soon. Outside, a massive magic barrier shimmers protectively over the city. He smiles, realizing Sharon is finally starting to believe his predictions. If he can secure this place, he will get exactly what he is after. With active players running around as adventurers, most major disasters get cleared before any real damage is done. Since he is guiding them, he is set to rake in massive rewards, leaving him debating whether to ask for rare gold potions or something far more valuable. Let's be real, Jin Sung is basically playing everyone like a fiddle, but technically, his info is completely accurate. Lost in thought, he accidentally bumps straight into someone. They immediately recognize him, making him realize he was muttering his plans out loud again. I know what you're thinking, who is this girl? She finds his weird behavior unusual for a player, but she recognizes his Dark Knight class and asks if he was at the Sky Tower. This catches him completely off guard, making him turn away to pretend he does not know her. But her companion recognizes him instantly too, laughing about how long it has been since they last met. They tease him for still playing solo. Seeing that his level is incredibly low, they casually offer to carry him through some high-level zones. Suddenly, a direct message flashes on his screen, making our main character yell out in absolute shock. Seeing his hilarious reaction to the private whisper, the girl bursts into a fit of uncontrollable laughter. He is completely rattled by a simple direct message and demands to know what is going on. This annoys the blonde player even more as he suddenly realizes his real name was used, demanding to know how they found out. The player finds it hilarious that his actual name is just his username. Meanwhile, our protagonist is panic-stricken, desperately wondering how long that info has been visible. After all, nobody recognized him before the Sky Tower. He remembers introducing himself to the old man as Jinon back then, since he did not have a proper username yet. He realizes his actions in this world are starting to cause some really weird ripple effects. The stranger snaps his fingers with a grin, admitting he really likes his style, and straight up invites him to join his guild on the spot. He promises to shower him with high-grade gear, top-tier potions, and free power-leveling runs, but our main character just hits him with a cold rejection. The recruiter ignores the rejection, rambling on about tutorial benefits, but our protagonist is already completely distracted. He catches a familiar voice in the crowd and immediately heads straight toward it. Oilia is screaming, swearing she will get her revenge no matter the cost. Watching from a safe distance, our hero recognizes her as the sole survivor from that burning airship disaster. Suddenly, an unexpected strike knocks her dagger away. The temple knights restrain her, warning that she is far too weak to fight. Seeing this, the blonde realizes they are entering the behemoth storyline. He spots the player currently running this questline and is a skilled archer named Muse. Meanwhile, his guild recruiter catches up, wondering why he randomly ran off mid-sentence. The young priestess desperately explains that the temple atop the flying whale is her home, filled with precious family memories. Sadly, the evil apostle Lotus corrupted the believers, forcing them to slaughter each other. She refuses to sit by and watch her entire world crumble. Our hero watches silently, remembering that atop the massive creature lies the Grand Blue Lore Order, a religious sect guarding ancient relics. She only fled down to Earth because Lotus is invading her sanctuary at this very moment. These apostles are the fearsome rulers of the demon world. There are 12 of them in total, serving as the ultimate bosses of this entire game world. He has no desire to fight an apostle directly yet, wanting only to handle the corrupted mobs while carefully observing the player. Suddenly, the archer spins around, catching both men looking at her. Before they can say a word, she retreats from the scene. Her sudden exit is annoying, but it does not matter. They decide to head back together before sunrise. Watching them go, our hero realizes this is just how the game's dialogue flow works. Thankfully, none of them show signs of corruption, meaning the party will reach the behemoth safely. Now that the main quest dialogue has officially wrapped up, he needs to slip away fast. Suddenly, someone rushes over, yelling frantically for the captain. This startles our protagonist, who thought the cutscene was completely over, as Lenny shouts that he is coming along no matter the danger. And that is where we leave things for now, trust me. You're going to want to see what happens in that massive whale dungeon. You and I are diving into a wild ride where our hero must stop Lenny from joining this high-risk mission at all costs. Lenny begs for a single chance to show off her skills, but the master immediately shuts her down, knowing this operation is way too deadly for her. The vice master panics and apologizes, admitting he could not hold her back. Meanwhile, the captain grows quiet, realizing the sheer terror of the enemy they are about to face in this dark battle. But then he just bursts out laughing. He gives in and lets her tag along, completely catching our main character off guard. With her tag along, this quest is bound to fail. Our hero needs to intervene, just like back at the Sky Tower. Watching her excited face, he plots his next move. They depart at dawn, which gives him the perfect window of opportunity to slip away and handle things himself. Up in the clouds, the massive flying whale glides gracefully. Below, violent waves crash against the city port, setting a dark, heavy mood for what is coming next. The dark elf on the Sharon welcomes her, throwing a quick compliment her way. But his eyes immediately dart sideways, questioning why on earth our young hero is tagging along. She explains he is a vital guest of her guild. Meanwhile, our protagonist takes one look at their gear and realizes it is absolute garbage. He asks if Margarita can set off, and she replies that she is already oiled up and ready to fly at any moment. But our hero is highly distracted, remembering the chaos of how he first arrived. Remember that frantic morning? He woke up screaming, warning her that the dark future has arrived way too early. A massive crisis is about to hit Behemoth, and it will soon engulf the entire city. Knowing she would only get answers after returning, she agreed to help our hero get onto that legendary flying whale. She notes he keeps grabbing more random gear, but his secret info is worth every penny. The Dark Elf suggests a quick tea break while they wait but don't blink, because a massive, deafening crash suddenly explodes right behind them. They both freeze in utter shock. Our main character just casually scratches his nose, admitting he barely touched the pile before the whole thing came crashing down. Furious at the total disaster, the guy snaps and throws a massive punch, hitting our hero right in the face with full power. He screams about the insane cost, but Jim Sun just curses back, calling the gear absolute trash. He tells them he has zero time to waste on this junk, so they should just charge everything directly to the Wizard Guild tab. Suddenly, the heavy cabin doors slam open. A fierce knight named Loedo steps aboard to take charge. Instead of a grand welcome, she is greeted by the hilarious sight of our hero desperately apologizing to his sponsor. A bit later, the pilot expresses worry about the deal. With so many passengers on board, they need to prep the vessel for takeoff immediately. The knight is shocked to see him on this trip, but our hero quickly clarifies that he is no mage, he is just along for the ride. The bearded pilot notes that Sharon must think highly of him to let a mere guest tag along. But as he looks closer, he spots her radiating pure, silent rage while holding a massive bill for all the damage he caused. Our hero chuckles nervously while rubbing his bruised cheek. That is when the cavalry leader spots him, recognizing him as the disciple of GSD. He quickly lies, claiming he is just assisting the guild on an expedition. Bon is stunned. Our protagonist uses the moment to ask if he can borrow a crew member, since he has no bodyguard protection. He agrees and assigns Lenny to watch his back, leaving her totally red-faced. Meanwhile, our hero flashes a sly, wicked grin, realizing it will be incredibly easy to keep a close eye on her now. Her mind spins as she wonders what sinister plan he has cooked up. But before she can ask, the Dark Elf bellows for everyone to board immediately. Just then, another adventurer runs up, confirming all hands are on deck. In an instant, the massive sails unfurl, and the waterbound vessel defies gravity, soaring straight into the sky. The pilot slides his goggles on, ready to push this flying ship to its absolute limits. Responding to his command, the ship rockets forward at breakneck speed, charting a course straight toward Behemoth. They weave through the thick clouds, performing sharp maneuvers to dodge any aerial obstacles. Everyone is being violently tossed around, terrified of the crazy speed. But let's look closer at Lenny. She realizes that staying frozen like a lifeless doll will only get her killed. Our hero remembers seeing the fighter act the exact same way during the tower climb. It must be a weird lag effect, like they are loading into this world at completely different times. As the ship slips through the final cloud barrier, the crew is suddenly brought face to face with the gargantuan, glowing eye of the colossal flying whale itself. They all stare in absolute awe at the mythic beast gliding through the heavens. Lenny looks up, her jaw dropping. She had never imagined that the legendary behemoth could be this breathtakingly massive. They finally land on the target zone, only to find a gruesome sight. The ground is littered with cold corpses. The pilot warns them he cannot dock here, so they must signal him when they are ready to escape. An eerie silence hangs over the area, choked by a suffocating, dark aura. The captain mutters that even the cursed sky tower was cleaner than this nightmare, while his ally admits this is the worst battlefield he has ever seen. The dungeon event has officially started. Our protagonist knows he must keep his distance to avoid getting spotted by her. The captain shares their intel, stating the Lotus is located deep inside. But before they can move, a bloodied survivor stumbles out, begging for help. The captain instantly recognizes the three-eyed mask. This man belongs to the GBL order. Suddenly, the mask cracks wide open as the man starts chanting to kill, right before disgusting tentacles explode violently from his flesh. The poor soul screams for a quick death before the parasite completely takes over. Speaking through him, the beast declares that anyone who disobeys Lotus will be utterly destroyed. Dozens of infected beasts begin rushing the group. Without hesitating, the cavalry leader leaps forward, drawing his blade to slice through the front line. He tells the adventurer to show no mercy, as ending their lives is a mercy for those past saving. Meanwhile, our hero decides to hang back, letting them handle the initial wave while he prepares. Lenny steps in front of him, warning him to stay safe since he does not even have a weapon. But our hero just grins. He reveals a secret purchase he made earlier, leaving her completely stunned by his mysterious gear. Distracted by his strange weapon, they fail to notice a stealthy monster creeping up right behind them. The beast leaps at the distracted girl, but in a split second, a powerful hand yanks her back out of harm's way. It is our hero, who unleashes his blazing energy sword and cleaves the monster in two. The mangled beast whimpers on the ground, begging to be put out of its misery. Jim's son obliges, unleashing a flurry of lightning-fast slashes that shreds the monster to pieces before taking a deep sigh. With a smooth, charming smile, he asks if she is all right. Lenny looks up at him, her face flushing red with pure excitement. Sometime later, the team arrives at a creaking, eerie bridge. An archer lands a perfect shot, pinning another lurking beast to the ground. With the immediate threat cleared, the path ahead is finally open for them to push forward. The pilot warns that they have been watched ever since they stepped past the outer walls, but whoever is spying on them definitely picked the wrong group to mess with. Far in the distance, a mysterious woman watches them from the shadows. They must keep moving, as they are already entering the deep jungle. And that's where we leave it. Trust me, you and I don't want to miss what comes next. Let's dive into an epic quest where our heroes are tracking their target, and a knight wonders if the mind-controlled victims can still cast magic. But our main character knew better. They were just empty shells left behind after battling that monster. A survivor named Isadora hunted down our group, trying to kill them before they lost their own minds. But they ambush her instead, sparking a wild battle right in the heart of Dendroid where, miraculously, not a single life was lost. With the battle finished, their enemy turned into a guide, leading them toward the ultimate disaster. Now, with this clash out of the way, they are heading straight into the next dungeon. But our main character thinks Lenny is dragging them down, though she is actually moving faster than expected right until she gets a sudden flick on her head. She snaps, asking if he has rocks in his head. Honestly, he was spaced out and just tells her to stay focused. Deep down, he knows that if things keep going like this, she will die. He vividly remembers this grim future playing out, but he knows he can't pause or do anything to change it, forced to keep pushing forward regardless of the cost. Her tragic fate is already set in stone. Still, Jin-sen calls out to her, and she quickly asks what is wrong. He just shrugs and jokes that she will get hurt if she keeps waiting for him. Though she gets annoyed, he silently resolves that if he cannot change her fate, he will at least fill her final days with happy memories. Out of nowhere, she blushes and asks him if he has a girlfriend. Now pay attention here, he completely freezes up at her question, wondering how a simple conversation went so off track. But before he can even answer, massive roots suddenly burst from the ground. Lenny manages to leap back safely, but our hero is not so lucky as a thick, gnarled branch wraps tightly around his wrist. Lenny yells to Jin-sen, asking if these are dendroid roots, while he realizes some stragglers must have stayed behind. He quickly pulls a weapon from his inventory, ready to slash his way out. But he fails to notice another monster sneaking up right behind him. For a split second, he panics, thinking this careless mistake is going to cost him his life. Luckily, Lenny sweeps in and slices the monster in half with a single, clean strike, freeing him before charging at the remaining killer trees. The knight is baffled by these bizarre beasts lurking in the dense jungle. These are actually hunters, monsters who perform a grim ritual to keep themselves from losing total control. But the girl tells him to shut up and fight. The tension breaks as our blonde hero sheepishly admits he got a little too cocky back there. The wooden beasts surge forward, but our duo is already in motion, ready to meet them head-on. With newfound confidence, they start tearing through the pack like butter. Lenny unleashes absolute havoc with her massive weapon, obliterating the possessed monsters. It is a total bloodbath, and our main character can't help but laugh at their overwhelming power. Lenny smiles back, but Jin-sen has already made a tough choice. Still, he can see they are both running on fumes. Suddenly, she collapses to the ground, shocking him. She gasps that she is just exhausted, but quickly admits she might have twisted her ankle and needs a hand to stand up. Let's pause here because what he does next hits hard. He looks down and confesses he has a girlfriend she knows well, before gently taking her hand to say they are going on a date this weekend. With a warm smile, he tells her she cannot forget their promise. Deep down, he knows this pity might be useless in the end. But he does not care if it is right or wrong, even joking that he does not know any good places to eat. He just wants her to feel happy before she dies. As they run, he playfully asks why she hit him, and she laughs, saying he deserved worse. He promises to do his absolute best, making her smile light up. Touched by his sincerity, they finally arrive at their destination. Moving like a flash, they charge forward and instantly slice a waiting enemy in half. She calls out to him, asking if this is the correct path, and he firmly nods, yes. Their goal lies just past the sanctuary, where a legendary weapon is hidden. But Lenny suddenly stops him, pointing out traces of an archer's skills that were recently used nearby. She spots a strange glow in the dirt. He picks it up, realizing it is an incredibly rare item dropped by a player who must have let it slip. He wonders about the chains wrapped around it, which are actually magic seals. Apparently, high-tier rare items always come locked down like this. He wants to break the seal, but he lacks the skills. He realizes he will need Sharon's help later, but then something else catches his eye. He finds a pile of powerful gear scattered all over the floor, leaving both of them completely baffled as to why it was abandoned. Jensen realizes the owner does not need this gear anymore, since this is not her main account. He scoops it all up, promising to put it to good use. Soon, they finally reach the boss of the Forbidden Sanctuary, High Priest Alsor. The monster screams at Isadora, demanding to know why she abandoned her own family just to survive. The captain explains that transformation can block mind control, but it is a dark road with absolutely no turning back. The woman sneers, knowing her partner always used forbidden methods to get results. As they draw closer, Lenny tries to call out, but Jinsen warns him to stay quiet and listen. Suddenly, the dying monster spits blood, calling his partner a fool. The woman urges them to keep moving because their time is rapidly running out. Jensen notes that everything has gone smoothly so far. Now, only one final event needs to play out for their plan to succeed. But suddenly, Lenny trips and faceplants hard onto the dusty ground. He laughs, teasingly asking if she is okay, but then he freezes. Looking down, he spots an ancient book lying right where she fell. His jaw drops as he realizes this is the legendary Book of Genesis. This sacred tome holds the prophecy of the apostles, a crucial item for this world. But, out of nowhere, sudden slashes slice right through him. Now trust me, you and I can see how annoyed Lenny gets as Jin Sen frantically asks her what she is doing, completely oblivious to who might be listening. Hearing their voices, the captain walks back, feeling like he recognizes the sound. He places his hand on the wall and peers down the dark corridor, but finds absolutely nothing. He shrugs it off, walking away and assuming he is just being paranoid because of the constant danger. His ally asks where he went, and as he heads back, Jin Sen sighs in relief. They narrowly escape detection, but now he wonders how to stop the timeline from being completely ruined. All right, you and I are diving into a moment where Lenny is blushing hard, completely starstruck by how incredibly handsome our main character looks. Suddenly, our main character steps closer, sending her flustered heart into overdrive. She stammers, asking what he is doing, but he gently shushes her as their lips slowly begin to drift together. The poor girl is totally confused about his intentions in this tight hiding spot, but surprise, he is not making a move. Instead, he is rewriting the book because he already knows every single line by heart. She awkwardly asks if he is going to keep going with the act, but he just tells her he needs to focus. He stands up and steps out of hiding, satisfied that he finished chapter 1 of the Book of Genesis. He knows he is no mastermind, so he asks what Lenny is doing, only to realize she looks ready to murder him. Right then, the captain turns around and spots a mysterious book that suddenly appeared. Our hero secretly celebrates because his delivery went exactly as planned. The captain reads that they were never true gods because they lacked power, with Genesis calling them mere followers. Suddenly, the man lets out a chilling laugh, making our boy ask if he is doing okay. He steps into the light, completely captivated. He finally realizes this is an actual record of ancient legends, admitting he has never heard such a mind-blowing tale before. Even though the text is incomplete, he vows to keep this incredible, find a complete secret. Our main character observes his strange expression, while Lenny realizes this is the absolute first time she has ever seen him so incredibly furious. Even when she hit him with a stray meatball or argued with him, his face was never this dark, making her ask what exactly was written there. Now pay attention here, because our hero is shocked that a book could make him this angry. The game's fixed art makes it hard to tell, but those dialogue lines are definitely repeating. Still, the card has not dropped yet, meaning the corruption is far from over. He has to keep tailing him. But his gut warns him that pressing on will lead to absolute disaster. He calls out to Lenny, but suddenly a massive earthquake violently shakes the area, leaving the bearded man asking Isadora what is happening. Right then, the giant whale lets out a silent scream, opening its massive mouth as pure agony ripples through everyone. Jim Sung instantly blames Lotus, knowing his mind control has finally taken hold of the massive beast. As the whale's eyes roll back in complete torment, our hero feels a powerful psychic wave violently trying to force its way into his own brain. Clutching his head, he realizes things have escalated way beyond his worst fears. Dark corruption begins creeping over the giant creature's eyes, sealing its grim fate. The tremors finally stop, but those dark, terrifying visions still echo in Jimsun's mind. He knows they cannot move forward without drawing up a proper battle plan. A panicked Lenny urgently asks what just happened, suggesting they turn back. She tries to mention the Grandmaster is still inside, but our hero has just realized he must immediately report this critical situation to the guild right now. He pulls out a device, hearing Sharon complain about his wild request, until his own communicator suddenly starts buzzing, instantly catching his undivided attention and stopping her in her tracks. Our hero realizes she got the message, which means their extraction ship will be arriving to pick them up very soon. Sharon eagerly asks what he uncovered, so he keeps it simple and tells her he knows exactly where Lotus is heading. Standing guard outside with her massive sword, she shouts in disbelief, questioning if he really wants to go into the deep ocean. Let's pause here, because our hero realizes this sky fortress is Lotus' original home, but the temple has stripped away more than half of his power. To get here, Lotus had to hijack the giant behemoth, making the situation far worse than anyone imagined. Sharon asks for details, and our hero reveals his vision of Lotus reclaiming his power from the apostles to destroy Oliver. Overwhelmed with shock, the woman drops her teacup, letting it shatter completely on the floor. She stammers that it is impossible to change, but the mage grabs his shoulders, insisting there has to be a way and that Lotus must have a weakness they can exploit. Our hero realizes there is only one option left, a desperate play. Reaching out, he asks her for a loan of 100,000 gold to execute his highly dangerous backup plan. With the deal made, he exits the room. Lenny runs up, asking if his report is finished so they can finally head back to the whale. Jimsum tells her they need to make a few stops first, leaving her baffled while holding 2 ice cream cones. After all, they are at the Henemy market, packed with all kinds of fascinating items. Lenny asks if this is some kind of joke, since they have no time to lose, silently relieved that other players are not around to witness this. He explains he sensed Lotus' power and came here to find a countermeasure. Lenny understands, but then asks why they got ice cream, and he happily replies that it is simply too delicious to pass up. They quickly arrive at their destination, where they are welcomed by Kana, the warehouse owner, who asks what they are looking for today. Our hero hands her a paper, asking for everything on the list. She scans the items and determines that sourcing them should be fairly simple. But since gathering everything will take time, she tells them to return after dark. Lenny desperately protests that their mission is incredibly urgent, but our main character sighs, knowing they have absolutely no choice but to wait. With a confident grin, he tells Lenny they have to kill time until nightfall anyway. He promises to buy her some food as the shopkeeper waves them goodbye. Left alone, the owner reads his letter, which tells her to take her sweet time, realizing she just scored a highly profitable business deal. Soon, the two stroll through the bustling city streets. Lenny is visibly flustered, awkwardly scratching her head, until our protagonist teases her about a funny, grumpy-looking fish, joking that it looks exactly like his grumpy companion. Furious, she shoves the grumpy creature right onto his head, her eyes blazing with absolute fire. Next, a vendor calls out, claiming their dart game is absolutely perfect for couples. They both join in, popping balloons with lightning-fast reflexes and flawless precision, ultimately winning her a cute plush toy that warms our hero's heart. She beams with pure, radiant happiness. Our protagonist, gently putting the fish aside, feels a deep sense of joy just seeing her this incredibly happy. As twilight falls, ending their perfect day, she happily tells him the street food is amazing and her little brother would love it. Our hero knows she supports her mother and brother, working hard for a promotion to help them. She sincerely thanks him, deeply touched that he made time in his busy schedule just to spend the day with her. She admits a Grand Weapon Master has absolutely no use for her assistance, especially since she is just a low-ranked knight. Honestly, she is already grateful just to stay alive when they return to the behemoth, but thinking of her family brings back all her anxiety. Standing up, she smiles, saying she had so much fun today forgetting about her heavy responsibilities. She vows never to forget this memory, suggesting that next time, they should visit the Empire of Lost together. Our hero just stares at her, taking in her heartwarming words. And that's where we leave it, with our hero squeezing his fist as she asks if they really must return to the behemoth. But the girl stops him right there. Brushing a leaf from her hair, she proudly declares that she always follows orders, proving that the brave knights of the Metal Wolf never run from a fight. Stick with me here, because our main character looks seriously worried. He knows that continuing this path means warning her about her own tragic death. Meanwhile, night falls over the dungeon atop the giant white knight. The cavalry captain calls out for Isadora, claiming a special weapon hidden here can destroy the giant beast, but nobody warned them about the bizarre, unsettling horrors crawling all over this cursed place. The bearded warrior steps forward, staring in shock at the massive eggs blocking their path. Moving closer, he shudders as he sees hideous demons constructed from human body parts inside them. He recoils in terror, warning the group that these disgusting abominations are far too dangerous to get anywhere near. Without warning, a monster ruptures its shell and lunges at them, recognizing them as the hated apostles of Lotus. Meanwhile, down at the port docks, a frustrated knight wonders what is taking the others so long. Someone tells him to relax since the powerful adventurer is on their side. Suddenly, a scout yells that the ship Margarita has finally docked. Yet, only our main character steps off with absolute, chilling composure. The Vice Master rushes over, demanding to know where the rest of the crew is. In response, she presents the grand emblem of the Master, signaling an urgent call to arms for all active knights. Realizing they have been officially summoned, he orders everyone to prepare for battle and demands to be led inside. In a brightly lit room, our main character inspects his newly equipped gear, ready to break free. Checking his status window, his jaw drops as he notices his reputation has spiked more than 10 times its original amount. He grins as the heavy armor suddenly vanishes from view. His partner looks confused, especially since her own stats did not budge. She realizes the gear is completely weightless and invisible. Just then, a group of allies approaches, thanking him for buying them precious time. Now pay close attention here, because our main character realizes that Iris is holding an item of extreme value. She asks if anyone would believe that mere minutes could decide the entire world's fate. It is the Hyper Jammer, a rare bracelet that blocks the mind control of the demonic beast. But she is not helping out of kindness. Right now, this poor woman is nothing more than a mindless puppet. The adventurer quickly snaps the device onto her wrist. Still, our hero knows this flawed prototype will malfunction soon, leaving her in serious danger. But looking at the big picture, his true mission is to guide the storyline back to its proper path, not play hero in a world that is just a game. Just as everyone readies up, the Vice Master warns that the enemy is moving. Following close behind Roboto, our main character boards the ship as Jinsen realizes the ultimate battle has finally commenced. The final showdown against Lotus is here. The team heads back to the Behemoth to coordinate their strategy between two main locations, the heart of the sanctuary and the ruined shelter where survivors are hiding. To cover both zones, they split up. Our main character leads a squad to rescue survivors from the ruins, while the remaining knights fight forward to pave a direct path to the final boss. They tear through the monstrous guards with ease. The commander orders them to keep firing until the path ahead is entirely cleared. A monster charges forward, screaming for them to perish in the name of Lord Lotus. Our protagonist yells at the soldiers to fall back, unleashing a lightning-fast slash that cuts down the oncoming beasts in a blink. The soldiers watch in absolute awe of his insane speed. Suddenly, a desperate scream echoes. Another beast corners a trapped soldier, raising a lethal blade to execute him. In a flash, a deadly dagger flies straight for his face, but our hero teleports instantly, obliterating the monster before the blow can even land. He warns them not to let these weak minions overwhelm them, as one girl realizes this must be the legendary fighter Lenny mentioned. The soldier thanks him, but our hero warns everyone to brace for incoming mental attacks. You and I know it takes massive willpower to resist, but our protagonist tries his own method, failing to realize he is already caught. In a single split second, his entire reality is violently warped. While the worried knight watches his stiff body, our hero faces the demon inside his own mind. The creature demands his absolute submission, but our protagonist just insults it, mockingly calling this eighth apostle Lotus of the Long Legs. He keeps his cool, knowing this monster cannot control in the same way it dominated every living soul back on its home planet, Solaris. He prepares to open his inventory to counterattack. However, the demon is shocked, wondering how this human could possibly know about its secret homeworld when it never mentioned it to anyone. Our blonde protagonist realizes the monster is reading his mind. A splitting headache hits him as the entity digs deeper, trying to scan his foreign memories. To him, this world is built like a massive computer program. He wonders if this alien entity is truly from outer space, knowing he must block it from scanning his mind any further. But the pain is unbearable as the demon demands immediate answers. The creature screeches, threatening to violently tear his head off if he does not give it the information it wants. Tired of living in a dull, gray world, our hero decides to strike back. He smirks, declaring he is about to show this beast the true complexity of a human mind. An overwhelming flood of foreign information slams into the demon's brain. It screeches in pure agony, completely overwhelmed by the bizarre thoughts of a modern human. Finally, breaking free from the agonizing pain, our protagonist looks up, realizing the tide of battle has turned. Gripping his sword tight, he boasts that coming from another world gives him a massive information advantage. He even knows the secret to destroying this entire zone. The monster tries to probe further, but our hero warns it to stop, or the backlash will end its life right here. The multi-tentacled monster snarls, asking how a mere human dares to threaten a great apostle, but our hero coldly replies that he has absolutely nothing left to lose. Defeated, the creature asks what he wants. Our hero gets straight to the point, demanding to know the source of the corruption. The beast admits it saw those thoughts, mentioning how certain apostles are actively spreading a physical contagion. But our protagonist shakes his head, clarifying that he is not talking about a physical plague. That is none of its concern, though. Our blonde hero realizes the demon has no clue which apostles are responsible, asking why it is laughing so mockingly. The monster scoffs, saying he should already know the truth. Since not even the great goddess can cure this rot, it means an apostle is definitely behind it, and there is only one mastermind capable of orchestrating a disaster on this scale, the infamous Hilda. The blonde hero sighs deeply, wondering why the most annoying character has to be the mastermind. Deep down, he already suspected it. The demon chuckles, mockingly, noting that it does not even need telepathy to read the absolute dread written all over his face right now. Our protagonist pauses, suddenly wondering if powerful beings like Hilda, Sirocco, and Cases can also read minds just as easily. Trust me, you and I are about to see this octopus explode with rage for being compared to those idiots and severely underestimated. Alright, you and I are stepping into a mess where Hilda looks like an idiot playing with puppets. Cassius senses danger, and our protagonist realizes he just struck a very sensitive nerve. Ultimately, he is far too arrogant to let himself, Lotus, the undisputed ruler of the oceans, be compared to mere children. Rumor has it that once he retreats to his watery domain, he can invade their minds whenever he pleases. Our main character realizes Hilda actually cannot read minds, which makes sense given her strategic talents in controlling puppets instead. Honestly, if she possessed mind-reading powers, there would be no need for any of this elaborate scheming. Even with Iris on her side, there is no immediate reason to panic. Our protagonist steps up to ask one final question, but the crowd quickly shuts him down, demanding that he start giving answers instead. He demands to know the truth about that mysterious box they saw. Our hero is utterly baffled, but the beast reveals it was once sealed away inside that very container by hordes of people, including children. Meanwhile, Jin overhears them discussing him on the phone. He lets out a heavy sigh, realizing he has no option left. He decides to confess everything now, knowing that sooner or later, adventurers will hunt him down and defeat him for centuries to come. The beast growls in disbelief, questioning how he dares predict its demise, and promises to grind his bones to absolute dust. Gripping his sword, our protagonist dares the monster to try, but the creature suddenly stops and sighs deeply. It declares that playtime is officially over, leaving our hero completely baffled by this sudden shift in attitude. Ultimately, the beast calls him a lucky human, letting him walk away with a chilling warning. If he manages to escape this zone alive, he must promise never to unleash the forces of true annihilation. Our hero stands there dazed, wondering why he is suddenly being spared and what the monster meant by the wrong timing. Just then, we see the adventurer bracelet on his wrist dim and completely lose its power. He snaps awake, drenched in cold sweat, panicking about whether he made it back and exactly how much time has slipped away. Suddenly, a knight rushes in to find Fiona with terrifying news. The adventurer has vanished, and Lenny is desperately searching for them right now. Fiona shouts that they do not have a single second to waste. Now, watch closely, because our protagonist is sprinting like mad, finally realizing why the demon let him go. The Muse hyperjammer failed, meaning the devil has already taken full control of it. If Lenny blindly chases after them, she is walking straight to her grave. He has to run faster before it is too late. Gasping for air, he wonders if he even has the power to stop this disaster. His entire goal is to halt the corruption, but if he interferes now, he might be the one who triggers it. He begins to question if it is better to just step back and let things play out. As he hesitates, the very fabric of reality starts to splinter behind him, tearing open a terrifying portal. He watches in shock as two figures emerge, immediately recognizing the main player alongside Iris. He notices Iris is surprisingly free from Lotus's mind control. But before he can make sense of this, a mysterious man approaches, announcing they have successfully reached the giant behemoth. Our protagonist wonders who this stranger is, but looking at his unique traits, his heavy accent, and the blade at his hip, he suddenly remembers Siren, one of the 4 legendary weapon masters and a renowned time traveler. This is a tale from the future where, upon reaching level 70, this legendary warrior transports the adventurer and Iris back in time to witness a past event. Even for a dungeon, he never expected to encounter actual time regression like this. Suddenly, an intense voice echoes through the area, ordering the adventurer to freeze and not move an inch. Recognizing Lin's voice, our hero watches as the samurai points out their target. He is totally lost, especially when warned that the Lords of Time are about to make things incredibly messy. They are strictly forbidden from altering the past, with Lenny being the sole exception. Our protagonist is stunned, wondering why they must remain silent spectators instead of stepping in to change history. The blonde warrior realizes this might be the source of the real corruption. Taking a step forward, he admits he is not sure why, but they are definitely plotting something dangerous. He panics, wondering how to handle this, knowing the Lords of Time will strike if he interferes with these men. Suddenly, the stone wall is blasted by a massive barrage of attacks. Lenny barely evades the deadly energy blasts with desperate, high-speed agility. She screams at the adventurer to focus and fight off the dark control. The samurai rushes over, relieved she is safe, urging everyone to move out, but they fail to notice a shadow lurking nearby. It is our protagonist launching a surprise strike, though the warrior counters instantly. The warrior demands to know who is interrupting them, realizing it is a mind-controlled apostle. Our protagonist denies being captured, and though he has no clue what is happening, he refuses to let them run wild. Now, I know what you are thinking. He must hide his identity, but his gear vanishes. He screams out that it is just a disguise. If he is exposed, the game is over. If this fight goes on any longer, the Lords of Time will definitely step in. But surprisingly, the battle rages on with absolutely no divine interference. He wonders why they are being ignored. Blurring forward, he commands the player to stay completely still. The samurai barks, asking if he really dares to look away. But our protagonist effortlessly evades the heavy slash with a perfectly timed teleport. Thrusting his hand forward, the boy summons the shadows to do his bidding, unleashing a devastating area skill called Dark Delirium. Everyone staggers from the immense pressure, desperately wondering who this mysterious fighter is. He roars, pushing his skill to the absolute limit, until Iris suddenly smashes him over the head with her guitar. Blood starts spurting everywhere, while he looks on in complete confusion. Holding him down, she urges the adventurer and Siren to press onward immediately. This is their golden opportunity to fulfill their mission and rescue Lenny before it is too late. This unexpected turn leaves our protagonist completely stunned. Before he can even process what is happening, a deadly trident flies through the air, piercing Iris right through the chest and killing her instantly. A voice suddenly screams for them to halt. Looking up, our hero immediately recognizes Fiona and Dan arriving on the scene. He is horrified, demanding to know why they would attack her. Caught red-handed, Fiona spits at them to get lost, calling them nothing but crazy, brainwashed fanatics. Our protagonist is completely lost, certain that these opponents are not the same monsters they faced earlier. Panic sets in as he desperately tries to figure out his next move. The knight yells at our hero, demanding why he is just standing there instead of rushing to save Lenny from her plight. Our protagonist remains frozen, paralyzed by indecision, until a sudden blast strikes the woman, completely shattering her sword into pieces. The mind-controlled adventurer prepares to deliver a fatal strike to the helpless girl. Her cold, empty eyes show she is still completely possessed by that demonic entity. Making his ultimate choice, our protagonist charges forward at full speed. Drawing his sword, he desperately screams the name of the girl who captured his heart. But the deadly arrow is already drawn and unleashed straight at its target. Lenny stands frozen in terror, completely helpless, while our protagonist sprints desperately, too emotionally overwhelmed to even trigger his teleportation ability. Suddenly, a sharp breeze cuts through the tense silence. As blood splatters through the air, the remnant energy of the arrow fades away into the sky. We witness the devastating blow dealt to the lovesick warrior. Both knights immediately rush forward, their hearts heavy with worry for the fallen girl. The blonde weeps in despair, unable to believe she lost a dear friend, leaving our protagonist frozen with a dark expression. What do you and I even say to a tragedy like this? All right, stick with me because we are jumping right into a tragedy. As they desperately screamed Lemmy's name, choking back their tears, Lenny's brutal death set a grim reality for this world. And just like that, the player finally regains full control of her character. This tragedy is the exact spark that fires up the adventurers, hardening their resolve to stay on track and hunt down Lotus as fast as possible. While the others are still sobbing, the adventurer turns her back, focused on her mission. Our main character sits quietly as the girl walks away. He wonders what the right path even means when it costs an innocent life. Suddenly, dark smoke starts pouring from the two corpses. Our main character is stunned as the horrifying truth hits him. The so-called news from the future was nothing but a complete lie. They were just fanatical illusions, a trick he fell for because he watched them crawl right out of the time rift. They looked exactly as they did in his memories. But then, he remembers that mental space where something was reading his mind. He stops, realizing he has to put an end to this mental manipulation immediately. That demon completely wrecked his plans by crawling inside his brain and using his own precious memories against him. Now pay attention here, because that evil entity was actually traveling alongside him from day one, using his mind to craft those fake fanatics. Just as he realizes this, a heavy, echoing crash rattles through the wall. Finding the source, our hero drives his fist forward, yelling for Lotus. He calls this filthy beast the ultimate corruption of the dungeon, roaring at it to wait right there because he is going to slice this cursed octopus into tiny pieces. Cut to the very center of the dungeon ruins, right by the massive second column. The massive mollusk keeps thrashing while the cavalry captain blocks the heavy blows. Admitting the beast's shell is incredibly tough. The monster mocks them as useless humans, laughing because only 2 fighters are standing against it. The captain smirks, asking the monster if it is being too confident against 2 true master fighters. The beast tells him to shut up, but is cut off when the adventurer fires a sudden high-tier skill shot. The cavalry captain cheers her on, teasing that she took her sweet time getting here. The monster is completely baffled, wondering how she even escaped. Its mental trap totally failed, making it wonder if it could actually lose to this girl. But then, the beast bursts into a manic laugh, daring her to bring everything she has. It refuses to accept defeat. Right then, the archer lets loose a rapid volley of arrows, striking directly at the monster's glowing core. The beast vows to crush the adventurer at all costs, wrapping a thick tentacle around her body. But just as it squeezes, her figure vanishes into thin smoke. The allies gasp, shocked by her sudden disappearance. It turns out her blazing debut skill is incredibly broken, letting her teleport right behind the beast. The cavalry captain gets incredibly hyped, absolutely blown away by that flawless teleport. Enraged, the giant creature curses her and lunges forward, screaming for her painful death. But our archer is way faster, unleashing her Moonchaser skill to land the finishing blow. As the cavern starts collapsing around them, the captain chuckles, thinking they have finally won the battle. The bearded warrior grins, admitting she arrived just in time, even though they totally had it under control. He quickly praises her for carrying the fight. Suddenly, the octopus starts spinning wildly, catching the captain off guard. The monster mocks them, telling them not to make it laugh with their pathetic efforts. A massive shockwave tears across the entire island, the heavy, oppressive aura even warping the sky. Everyone drops to their knees, gasping under the crushing pressure. I know what you were thinking. They won, right? Well, wrong. Suddenly, their eyes gloss over as their minds are completely possessed. Weapons clatter to the ground while the creature laughs in triumph. Just like that, their 3 strongest fighters are entirely under the beast's control. The octopus keeps cackling, bragging that destiny belongs to the great Lord Lotus, until a cold voice asks if this is really that funny. Our main character finally arrives, striking an incredibly badass pose, declaring that this trash creature is finished. As the monster's true form fully materializes, our hero asks if it really finds this amusing, reminding it that human lives are not some toys to play with. Shocked, the beast demands to know how he can still move, calling him a completely useless human. But it shrugs it off, unleashing a brainwashing attack to trap this otherworldly human. Our boy easily blocks the entire mental assault, throwing a mysterious object directly at the beast's face. Our protagonist scoffs, noting he already knew this would happen. The monster searches its own memory banks, instantly freezing in sheer terror, as it recognizes the item as a mental resistance potion. This was actually a special item our main character specifically asked Hannah to craft. He basically replicated the unique powers of a hyperjammer, which perfectly shields against brainwashing even if telepathy still gets through. Furious, the giant octopus flings its massive tentacles, calling him a brat and cursing his annoying tricks. The beast mocks him, saying a minor advantage won't save him from being ripped apart by its physical tentacles. Unsheathing his sword, our hero mutters that he is sick of hearing its voice and wants to end this fast. Under the bright moonlight glowing in the night sky, he delivers a devastating, heavy blow directly to the creature. The beast gasps as its tentacles begin to fail. Screaming in rage, it strikes back, but our protagonist teleports instantly, appearing right behind the massive monster, fully prepared to cut it down. Suddenly, a stray tentacle whips around out of nowhere, landing a direct surprise hit on him. The beast laughs, claiming it read his basic 5-hit combo easily. It presses the attack, smugly asking how he expects to win against an opponent who can read his every single move. Our protagonist just smiles, asking if the beast is truly sure about that. He flashes across the battlefield in a series of rapid teleports, unleashing a dark cross slash from the opposite direction. The mollusk thinks he is just creating a flashy distraction for a sneak attack, confident that his cheap tricks won't work. Since the monster can read his mind, its plan is simple: strike faster than he can possibly react. The beast tracks his thoughts easily, knowing that as long as it has a clear target, it cannot miss. It predicts our hero is aiming for its blind spot. Spinning around, it whips a deadly tentacle to crush him, but the massive blow strikes nothing but empty air. Suddenly, a sharp slash cuts deep into its back. The monster panics, wondering how he bypassed its vision, but quickly reads his mind and prepares to block a blow coming from the right. It swings its massive arm to defend the right side, only to get brutally sliced from the exact opposite direction. Totally baffled by the mismatch between his thoughts and actions, the monster forces its way deeper into his consciousness. It is stunned to find weird button prompts and strange game symbols flashing inside the boy's mind. Our protagonist smirks, mocking the beast's mind-reading abilities. With rapid-fire teleports, he blitzes around the giant octopus, slicing off its limbs one by one. But the beast spots a tiny gap. Whipping its tentacle at his teleport path, it lands a brutal blow from behind, and trust me, we are left hanging on an epic cliffhanger. Welcome back, and let's jump straight into this intense battle where our main character is screaming in sheer panic. He collapses to the ground, terrified, as the monster realizes his abilities are combining into a spell that directly counters its own commands. The massive octopus makes sure to memorize every single input, spending the next few moments smugly reading his mind and bragging about its dominance. It immediately targets our hero, slamming him hard against the dirt before launching him skyward with a devastating heavy uppercut. A brutal barrage of endless strikes rains down on our main character. Exhausted and bleeding heavily, he barely breathes while the laughing beast closes in for another bloody blow. Somehow, he struggles back to his feet, trying to input commands until another hit knocks his sword away. This looks like the end. Defenseless and frustrated, the boy curses his weakness while the monster mocks him for getting upset over a girl. Deep down, he knows he only has himself to blame for acting so recklessly. Fueled by pure rage, our main character stands up and readies his aura-infused blade for one last strike. The angry beast glares with its massive eye, declaring that this fight ends now. In a flash, a sharp tentacle pierces straight through our hero's chest. The monster laughs, calling him an absolute fool. But wait, our boy is regenerating, and he cleanly slices the mutated limb off. He lands back on the ground, showing absolutely zero fatigue. The shocked creature wonders how he is still moving after taking a lethal hit. Blazing with anger, our main character promises to destroy it, no matter what. The arrogant beast demands to know what dirty cheat code he is using, but our hero ignores the question and cuts through its limbs. None of this makes sense. He is shrugging off deadly attacks and pushing forward. The creature is desperate to uncover his secret. Pay close attention here, because the octopus starts digging through his memories to find the hidden trick, and suddenly, it spots exactly what it was looking for. Analyzing the memories, the beast wonders what this strange power is before pulling up his player statistics. It turns out his level 10 skill grants him complete invisibility. Yet, the monster still cannot comprehend how our main character is charging forward like a demon, slicing tentacles to pieces. It is completely unfair. This level of heavy armor combined with active stealth is a totally broken build for an amateur. Suddenly, our hero appears right in front of it, eyes filled with rage. The terrified beast instantly begs for its life. Looking at Lenny, our hero admits he does not know how to fix this mess. He apologizes for letting his anger take over and doing something reckless, but promises her death will not be in vain. He will not allow the corruption to spread any further. Channeling all of his dark energy into his unique weapon, he shapes a massive, shadowy black blade, ready to put an end to this madness. He charges forward in a blind fury. The monster watches the devastating strike approach, completely overwhelmed by its sheer scale and destructive power. With one clean swing, the pitch-black slash splits the beast right down the middle, the dark shockwave tearing across the island and destroying the surrounding forest. A massive crater is carved into the earth, sending leaves swirling high into the stormy sky. Our enraged main character stands before the colossal scar left on the ground. He deactivates the dark blade, offering a silent farewell to the girl who stole his heart in this world. As the battle ends, cold rain begins to fall. You and I can feel the heavy atmosphere growing even colder after this tragic death. The defeated creature gasps, showing the devastating damage it took. It is harsh to think how the system and destiny treat them as mere puppets. Just then, Jinong approaches the beast with slow, heavy steps. Laughing, he asks if it is okay to let the adventurer land the finishing blow, pointing out that this is direct corruption. But the creature simply accepts its fate, claiming it is no different than any other puppet chasing a fleeting dream. Tired of the constant excuses, the blonde girl silently prepares to deliver her final, lethal attack. She executes the beast, completely destroying it. Instantly, the mind control snaps, freeing the rest of the party. Confused, they clutch their heads, wondering about the bizarre illusions they saw while possessed. Looking at the blonde adventurer, they realize she saved them. They are stunned, assuming she broke free from the spell and defeated the beast herself. However, the colossal scar on the ground was solely our hero's doing. While the girl gets praise, our exhausted protagonist quietly tries to recover. He lets out a sigh, knowing this is the right path. Ahead, at the outpost, a rescue ship named Margarita arrives to transport the wounded. The knight remarks on the incredibly somber mood, but her captain reassures her it is fine. They were incredibly lucky that the strong adventurer came along to save them. Suddenly, the blonde girl walks over, immediately catching the attention of the two masters who are watching from a distance. Spotting a body on the ground, the vice captain immediately runs over, recognizing the fallen comrade. The adventurer stays completely silent, knowing she played a role in bringing about this tragic outcome. Meanwhile, our hero stands behind a tree, clenching his fist in agony as the rain pours down. Lenny's body is placed beside the other casualties at the camp. Ironically, her long-awaited promotion is officially approved tonight, after her passing. To keep the mood from turning too dark, the captain suggests they raise a cup to celebrate their victory. The woman frowns, unwilling to act so heartless. She asks if he feels any guilt over the lives lost, but he responds that mourning a fallen knight after battle is fine, but acting weak dishonors their memory. Our protagonist recalls hearing this exact dialogue during his previous playthroughs. Except this time, the words hit him directly. The man agrees the mood is terrible, even after defeating an apostle. He decides to examine the corpse of Lotus to ensure the threat is truly gone. But our main character knows the dark truth. His actual goal is to harvest the corpse's energy to forge a devastating weapon. Regardless, our hero must protect the natural flow of the game and avoid interfering with the main timeline. Even if it brings ruin to this fantasy world, the Behemoth arc is finally over. In the distance, we see someone putting on the apostle mask. It is Sharon, who mutters that the mask is incredibly hard to see through. Our protagonist watches silently, knowing no regular player would equip it. In the original game, rare items like this could only be acquired once. But here, he realizes he can loot additional gear directly from fallen bodies. This is vital information. Sharon suddenly asks if he secured any other loot, but a light touch makes our hero yell in pain, quickly backing away and claiming a potion helped him recover. But trust me, you and I are definitely going to see him rise stronger after this epic showdown. Alright, you and I are diving into a world where everything is going exactly to our main character's plan, even if he had to play a little dirty to get that letter. Sharon can't believe how much he's changed. He used to be a nobody, but now, every word he speaks carries massive weight. With a flick of her wrist, she summons a magical contract. His skills are too good to pass up, so she's officially bringing him into her guild. As he watches the paper float before him, the storm outside finally begins to clear. Our clawed protagonist figures the deal is done. He immediately demands his cash on the spot, and since the magical contract is sealed, she has no choice but to agree. She instantly demands to know where he's off to. He casually replies that he needs to check on something and will return in a few days, leaving her wondering if he's just running away with all her gold. He just chuckles, telling her to relax. After all, he's got a pretty damn good reason to give this his absolute all now. But he didn't count on the storm completely washing out the path to Elven Guard, the forest he wanted to reach. Change of plan now, he needs to track down Lioness, the blacksmith, for something urgent. He considers asking Margarita to help him navigate the wreckage. But before he can even suggest it, she demands he drink a strange potion. He asks what the liquid actually is, which totally shocks her. He tries to demand an explanation before drinking, but before she can finish speaking, he completely vanishes into thin air, leaving her utterly terrified. Our boy face plants hard onto the dirt, dropping the empty vial. Man, that transition hurt like hell. But as he looks around, he realizes he actually made it to Elven Guard. Who would have thought Sharon would hand him a rare teleportation potion? Usually, these things have strict level restrictions, and they're always bright yellow. But hey, he finally spots Linus, the exact guy he was tracking down. The old blacksmith asks how he's doing, instantly whining about how incredibly boring things have been ever since Syria left. Now pay close attention to this next part. The old man asks if he managed to save that friend of his, but our guy just goes dead silent, flashing back to Lenny's tragic smile. He sighs, quietly saying she doesn't have to worry anymore. Sensing the heavy mood, the old blacksmith doesn't pry, but asks why he visited if he's not here to chat. The old man is shocked when he asks for a brand new sword. He demands to know what happened to the previous blade, only to find out it was stolen. The old man asks what kind of material they are working with. Jim's son casually asks if he'll run away once he sees it. Linus scoffs, claiming he never hesitates in his craft right before taking a massive hit straight to the face. The old blacksmith tumbles backward, while our guy quickly apologizes he's still not great at controlling his floating inventory panel yet. Rubbing his face, the blacksmith demands to know what that horrific thing is. It turns out to be severed lotus tentacles, which absolutely terrifies him. Our main character explains that things got chaotic recently and asks for the weapon anyway, leaving the old man wondering how he's supposed to forge something like that. Our guy pretends to understand, sighing that maybe it's just too tough for him. He mutters that only the absolute greatest blacksmith in the world could handle this legendary material. Right on cue, Linus snaps, telling this arrogant brat to wait right there. He roars that he never backs down from a challenge, especially when forging weapons. Our main character secretly laughs, knowing exactly how to manipulate the old man's massive pride. He keeps teasing, joking that this should be easier than slicing a piece of cake. Linus proudly barks back that he's damn right it is. Our guy thinks everything is going perfectly. With his money, he can stock up on high-grade potions and carry out his next plans. But then, a sudden realization hits him he got here using a single-use teleportation potion. So, how is he supposed to get back with the main path blocked? Well, you and I both know who shows up next as Angry Boss, lecturing him for running off. Turns out, she's actually pretty smart. She tracked the magical coordinates of his last teleportation and brought him another drink. Talk about pure, dumb luck. As they get ready to head back to the guild, she notices something weird. She asks why his potion is different, since every teleportation potion she knows is yellow, wondering if there was a brewing mistake. This completely insults her. She asks how he dares compare her beautiful, organic craft to those cheap, mass-produced fake potions. Furious, she threatens to leave him behind, forcing our guy to quickly beg for forgiveness. Back at the guild, they walk down the long corridors. Our main character opens a door to discover an incredible surprise waiting for him, a brand new, private room prepared just for himself. The mage admits it is looking a bit bare right now, promising she will take some time to furnish the space and get him everything he needs. Suddenly, a guild member approaches and announces that his custom order is finally ready. He assumes it's a welcoming gift, humbly saying she really didn't have to. But nope, it's actually just a wooden plaque nailed to his wall, designating him as part of the Emergency Response Committee for Abnormal Events. He stares at it in disbelief, asking what this actually is. Jim's son immediately complains, scoffing that the crappy plaque looks like it was made by an old lady with zero skills. This insult totally enrages his boss. After a quick, petty argument, his boss naturally wins the debate since everything is already finalized. There's absolutely no backing out now. He is officially stuck operating for the guild as an active magical tracker. He has to play by the rules of his contract, but his mind is already racing toward the next threat. After the behemoth disaster, a dark metastasis from another apostle is drawing near. This is a terrifying phenomenon where their dimension literally begins to split apart, triggered by some unknown cosmic force right after a very specific person is kidnapped. The real mastermind behind this apostle move is Hildur. She wields the terrifying power to shatter dimensional walls, allowing hordes of demonic creatures to flood directly into their world. Her main goal is to trigger the Genesis. According to the prophecy, she must sacrifice adventurers to bring her dark, demonic plan to life. Honestly, she's an absolute idiot for believing in that ancient prediction. But her raw magic is the real threat here. Knowing he stands zero chance as he currently is, he needs to focus on gaining raw power first. He suddenly asks Sharan if she knows how to make healing potions. What he really wants is an antidote to purge spiritual corruption, essentially fighting off what Sharan immediately recognizes as a deadly, encroaching plague. She demands to know where this outbreak will start. When he reveals it is Ophelia, in the kingdom of Fenner, the mage is completely stunned by his knowledge. The impending doom originates directly from the underground city of the Dark Elves. He tries to apologize, but it's already too late. The nightmare has begun, and a brutal plague is currently tearing this kingdom apart. An elf screams for everyone to get back inside. He rages that the city is being contaminated by those vile, wicked humans. A furious mage demands to know how those humans dare to attack their kingdom using such cowardly methods, swearing absolute vengeance. Meanwhile, their entire army has already assembled at the massive gates leading directly to the surface. They are marching straight into an all-out war. Let's head back to the forest where our main character just arrived, only to find an absolutely terrifying scene. The old blacksmith is completely engulfed in raging flames, raising his hammer high to deliver one final crushing blow to finish his latest masterpiece. Let's dive into this masterclass of a scam. Our main character looks at his newly crafted weapon, realizing it matches the rare, discontinued item from the giant tentacle of Lotus perfectly. The confused blacksmith instantly demands to know what is going on. He has just one burning question for our boy: why on earth did he need that specific weapon mold right now? But our main character is already 5 steps ahead. With this cosmetic-altering skill, he realizes he's about to make an absolute fortune off rich players. Meanwhile, back in the city, we see a completely exhausted high-level adventurer. He is bored out of his mind by the endless daily grinds and raids, until a wild promotional shout suddenly flashes across his screen, instantly catching his attention. Our boy keeps spamming the chat, hyping up his level 35 giant tentacle of Lotus weapon. It is not just ultra rare, it is an absolute flex. Right on cue, the wealthy whale slides into our main character's direct messages to make an offer. The blacksmith watches with deep suspicion, wondering how the kid plans to pull this off. Our main character just chuckles, knowing he will never quite get used to this crazy marketplace grind. Negotiations begin, and the buyer drops a jaw-dropping offer of 8 million gold. Our boy instantly freezes in sheer excitement, asking for a meetup spot, but the buyer abruptly hangs up. Suddenly, a shadow looms behind him. A massive, sword-wielding dog teleports right into the square, barking that he is here to inspect the legendary weapon himself. Our boy immediately realizes this whale logged onto his main character for the deal. The guy asks about the glowing pink aura on the sword, which has been enhanced over 13 times. The buyer is stunned because almost nobody risks going past 12 due to the astronomical upgrade costs. He tells himself it is worth it for his main account, but immediately takes it back. Now pay attention to this hilarious confession from a super rich player who just does things on a whim. He demands to know why the weapon is plus 13, and the dog deadpans that he just loves the pink aesthetic. Our main character stands there, completely speechless at this logic. The guy is clearly out of his mind, but cash is cash. The trade is finalized, and a mountain of shiny gold pours right into our protagonist's pockets. The dog is ecstatic, admiring the pink aura of his cute new toy. Feeling incredibly generous, he tells our boy he has a little bonus gift for him, tossing over an item that leaves our protagonist startled. It is a genuine creature egg, a super rare dungeon pet that can hatch into all sorts of crazy, powerful forms. This is a massive jackpot. Our boy is absolutely thrilled. This is exactly what he needed. He is officially in love with rich, eccentric whales. The dog smiles, promising this one is absolutely perfect. But then, a tiny baby lotus octopus pops out. Memories of that traumatizing boss fight flash before our protagonist's eyes. Terrified and furious, he eats the poor thing straight into a tree. You and I both feel kind of bad for this little guy, right? The poor baby starts crying instantly, while the oblivious dog player keeps praising how adorable it is. Sighing, our boy picks it up, muttering that it is not the pet's fault, it looks like a monster. The dog chuckles at how he treats his pets and asks if he wants to join his guild. Our main character politely passes, but the dog assumes it is because of the bad rumors surrounding them, admitting he does not get along with some members. The boy asks if they are actually famous, having absolutely no clue that he just turned down an invite to one of the most powerful guilds in the game. Promising to think about it, our boy heads back to the Mage Guild to find his mentor, Sharon. But the main hall is dead silent. She is completely gone, leaving only a mysterious letter behind. Sharon writes that she did not want to believe the rumors, but the dark truth is undeniable. Her hometown is suffering from a horrific plague where the dead are rising as zombies. To make matters worse, the Dark Elves blame humans for this outbreak. Tensions are boiling over, and their shared border is about to explode into an all-out bloody war. To stop the chaos, the Queen dispatched elite adventurers to investigate. Amazingly, they managed to uncover a lead on a potential cure. Sharon rushed off with a legendary alchemist, leaving this letter to warn him. The moment he finishes reading, our protagonist bolts out the door, knowing a massive server-wide main story quest has officially begun. He bursts through the guild doors, bumping straight into Celia. He knows there is not a single second to lose. He remembers she joined the Mage Guild after the Sky Tower raid. Celia immediately recognizes him from that chaotic run, and he introduces himself as Jim Sung, a new rookie recruit. Suddenly, they overhear a tense meeting. The Queen does not seem to grasp how fragile this situation is or how close they are to a brutal war. Instead of sending royal troops, she relies on random adventurers, which is highly risky. But Celia steps up, defending the mercenaries and reminding everyone how they saved Elvengard before. A snobby royal mage mocks them, saying killing a few low-level goblins does not make them ready for a real zombie crisis. Our main character is ready to throw hands, but Celia calms him, stating she witnessed his absolute god-tier skills firsthand. She offers a prayer, bestowing her divine blessing upon the party. Suddenly, a blinding golden aura wraps around them, making everyone wonder if this gentle girl is actually a literal goddess sent down to save humanity. Not wasting a single minute, Jim Sung rushes out. A few days pass, leaving heavy boot prints deep in the muddy, desecrated earth. Our main character treks calmly through the wasteland, with a tiny octopus nesting comfortably on his head. Finally, he reaches the dark, misty borderlands of the Belmire Principality, right on the edge of dangerous territory. The local alchemist is shocked by the devastation, but relieved that Sharon has already located the cure and gathered the rare ingredients needed to brew it. The alchemist asks how she predicted this disaster, leaving her silent, just as our protagonist dramatically makes his entrance. He calls out to Sharon, expecting a warm reunion, but is met with a terrifying sight instead. She is chanting a defensive spell, ready to blow him away. She completely ignores his weird, unnamed octopus pet and gets straight to the point. The crisis is escalating much faster than feared, and their vanguard adventurer has gone missing in the ruins. Apparently, the vanguard went deep into the undead-infested valleys to clear a safe path toward the Dark Elf Kingdom. Our boy realizes the server's main questline is moving incredibly fast, and the very first major dungeon is already cleared. At this rate, the historical timeline is accelerating, meaning the legendary catacomb hero, Lungal, is about to be awakened. This ancient fallen warrior is rising again due to the plague, and his defeat is the absolute key to stopping the epidemic. Our protagonist quickly asks for the completed antidote, and she hands it over. But he is not worried at all. Nobody knows this dungeon layout better than our veteran player. He steps into the eerie, poison-choked swamp as toxic fog rolls across the ground. Trust me, you and I are going to love seeing his new sword shred these monsters. He laughs, absolutely thrilled by its insane, game-breaking damage. Honestly, these ghouls stand zero chance against him now that his raw physical damage has easily topped 428. As they group up to strike, they completely miss a threat descending from the clouds. Our main character laughs because, trust me, you and I already know what is coming. A giant tentacle suddenly skewers multiple beasts in a single flash. See, this item has a crazy hidden stat with a 2% chance to summon one of Lotus's legs. That massive limb effortlessly wipes out the entire mob, leaving behind a completely shattered battlefield while our hero just stands there looking cool. Ultimately, only two things explain the presence of these monsters. We have the dark energy of the Apostle and the legendary Death Dragon lurking nearby. The Dark Elves are incredibly unlucky to deal with this, though their weapon is undeniably awesome, making him wonder why his ally is flexing so hard. Either way, he is getting close to the pillars marking the boss chamber. He starts sprinting, realizing he has finally located Lungal's long-lost tomb. He steps up to the stone coffin with caution, only to find the entire grave is completely empty. Nobody is inside. The protagonist notes that this player moves way faster than expected, and since the Time Lords are still active, the dark corruption hasn't actually happened yet. If the knight remains uncorrupted, the worst-case scenario becomes reality. The Death Dragon is born, unleashing the absolute strongest disaster monster of Ephilia, known as Sparazi. This place was supposed to be a legendary hero's final resting place, but it has zero loot. He only finds a few measly gold coins and spoiled rations, warning his pet companion not to waste inventory space on this garbage. Instead, the little pet starts shrieking at that exact moment when our main character asks if it wants to become his next meal. Next, we cut to the gates of the Elven Kingdom as someone finally arrives. The lead warrior warns they are totally surrounded, realizing the guards were actively waiting to ambush them this entire time. An elf approaches, boasting about their scout reports, and the elder confirms hearing that the human intruders were actually trying to breach the city gates through the path, crawling with undead monsters. They literally cleared a pathway through the horde, making this the perfect invasion route for their main army. The leader expresses his deep gratitude for their sacrifice to secure this vital zone. But the blonde warrior argues that war is not the answer, insisting they listen to the mysterious adventurer first. After all, he is the legendary dragon slayer who conquered all 7 trials assigned by the goddess Venus. His name is Lungal, the actual bloodline heir of the elves. But the stubborn elder immediately snaps that such a claim is impossible. Now, pay attention here. An ancient knight suddenly commands them to stop, and a new lady steps forward, recognizing without a single doubt that their true master has finally returned to them. The elder desperately claims this is just a clever illusion, but she knows you cannot simply control a deceased ancestor like a puppet. Right before a panicked scout runs in screaming about an absolute emergency. As they demand answers, the breathless scout gasps for air. Suddenly, a colossal roar echoes through the cavern, causing the very stone walls around them to shake. A suffocating, toxic green aura floods the chamber. Deep inside the boss room, the legendary Death Dragon has successfully shattered its ancient seal, breaking free to unleash chaos once again. Meanwhile, our main character is sprinting down the stone steps like crazy. Using a secret shortcut he knows, he realizes that terrifying sound means the beast Sparzi has officially awakened. The adventurer and Lungo must reach the Dark Elves to slay the dragon, meaning every second counts. But as they rush forward, a horde of annoying monsters blocks their path, demanding their immediate attention. Calling them a total waste of time, he draws his blade to carve a path. Meanwhile, at the tomb, the colossal dragon roars in triumph, mocking the foolish mortals for believing a mere seal could hold him. The beast launches a massive strike, but the agile adventurer easily slips past. She counterattacks with her signature move, Shadow of the Serpent, slicing the monster multiple times. The skeletal dragon retaliates with its toxic green breath, trash-talking her abilities. Yet, it fails to notice a sudden flash of blinding light descending rapidly from the heavens above. It cleanly severs the dragon's neck, sending its massive skull flying. The crowd cheers, celebrating their victory. But you and I both knew it wouldn't be that easy. The headless dragon suddenly rams the adventurer, slamming her face first into the wall, while boasting that mortal attacks cannot scratch his immortal flesh. The allies scream in absolute panic as the beast endlessly regenerates, leaving them zero room to fight back. The dragon charges the injured woman, ordering her to die before triggering a devastating blast of pure energy. Luckily, the attack is blocked by the ancient hero, who happily thanks the dragon for the fun fight and for the chance to protect his descendants. But this sacrifice is his final act. Outside, our panting main character keeps pushing forward, realizing the boss pillars are right ahead, meaning they have finally reached the central tomb. Suddenly, a brilliant flash of light erupts from the gateway. It is the absolute final strike of the noble elven knight charging the beast. The elves scream his name, begging him to survive. But he willingly sacrifices his soul just to expose the dragon's core, pleading with his ally to seize this final opening as he fades away. The dragon screams in agony, wondering what the elf did to its body. Seizing the golden opportunity, the adventurer leaps forward, unleashing a devastating strike that literally rattles the heavens. The dragon writhes in excruciating pain, while the exhausted adventurer collapses. Her heavily wounded body can barely move, yet the stubborn dragon mocks them once more, claiming they are fools to think it is over. Finally, the massive beast crashes down as she gathers her remaining aura. Everyone watches in disbelief, questioning if they actually won, until the elder notices the dragon has stopped regenerating. They actually manage to put the legendary dragon down, proving that the brave adventurer and Lord Lungal are an absolute powerhouse duo. Watching silently from the shadows, our main character doubts this is the true end. Soon, we are taken to the dark elven capital of Finnish, hidden deep underfoot. Even though the dragon is dead and some zombies have vanished, the deadly plague continues to ravage the land. The paranoid elder immediately points fingers, claiming this sickness is definitely a human conspiracy designed to destroy them. The queen sighs, saying this anti-human excuse is getting old. But the elder warns that public anger is boiling over and the entire kingdom demands action. Despite the plague and the broken dragon's seal, the humans still manage to join forces with Lord Lungal to put an end to the immediate threat. Plus, they conveniently brought an antidote with them, which is way too suspicious to be a mere coincidence. The queen falls silent, pondering if there is an easier way to earn their trust. She worries things will get incredibly complicated if her allies desert them now, and proving their innocence is going to be a massive uphill battle from here on out. Because of this, they dispatch the brave adventurer into the deepest, darkest sectors of the city to investigate the true source of the plague. He knows exactly what is hiding in the dark depths of this city. It is Delesia, the sixth apostle of plague. She is the real source of the virus, though that is not his main focus right now. With the Affiliate quest line basically finished and corruption averted for now, the timeline seems to be correcting itself naturally. And as we wrap up, something still feels completely off. Stick with me as he sprints to his next destination, the underground city of Nera. All right, you and I are diving straight into a dark dungeon where the first thing we spot is a dead dwarf. The altar is totally smashed, meaning our guy definitely made it to the right place. This place is the Tyrant King's palace, home to the dwarves who will defend their territory with their lives. The real trouble? The Dark Elves are trying to seize control of the entire city, making this path a total war zone. But the dwarves refuse to yield a single inch. Sure, they are smart, but talking to them is impossible. They treat everyone as a hostile intruder and attack on sight. In the game, that is exactly why they are classified as monsters. Right now, our adventurer has likely cleared out most of them, and their reason for staying, it is pretty obvious. Suddenly, the tiny creature traveling with our hero bumps right into him. That clumsy move forces him to trigger his speed skill to sprint away instantly. He yells at the little guy, calling him Taco, to move faster. The creature gets confused, but hey, its nickname is literally short for takoyaki. Suddenly, our boy freezes in shock. He is staring at a massive golden statue. The actual reason the dwarves refuse to leave, because all their treasures are hidden right here. He totally forgets the game's settings and wonders what this thing is. He realizes he can touch the statue and sweep the entire treasure straight into his inventory. Just like that, piles of gold are accepted and logged into the blonde hero's memory bank. Our main character bursts out laughing, telling Taco that they are officially filthy rich. He tells the little guy to scoop up every single coin, having no clue just how much it is all worth. The guy is literally making snow angels in a pile of gold coins. He admits he does not even want to go home anymore with all this cash. Honestly, he could live down here forever. But a sudden memory hits him, making him realize he is letting greed get the best of him. Just as he thinks he went too far, a sharp scream echoes, forcing him to hide. It is the adventurer, landing a devastating slash. The dying dwarf passes away knowing all of his precious gold is about to fall into her hands. A figure approaches, surprised that these creatures hoarded so much wealth for their survival. It is incredible, but they must keep moving. Our hero instantly recognizes her as a mime, a guide picked by the elven elder. Junin quickly mentions they took a shortcut using his leap, expecting the rest of the group to follow behind them. But suddenly, a bizarre rumbling echoes from deep underground. As our hero lands, he feels the floor shaking violently. Before he can even figure out what is happening, a massive sinkhole tears open right beneath them. Now, watch this closely. His face is pure terror as he plunges into the abyss, his little companion diving right after to save him, but both end up swallowed by the darkness. Our view shifts to a pitch-black alley where a terrifying monster slowly wanders the city streets. Its heavy, ragged breathing fills the air as someone nearby desperately wonders who this creature could be. He cannot comprehend why he is trapped here and tries to gather his thoughts. But suddenly, an image of Hilda flashes in his mind, his eyes widening as burning acid starts dripping from his body. He recalls this is all part of the Apostle's grand design. Because of that single woman, he is destined to ensure the entire planet is completely consumed by corruption. A dark aura slowly spreads across the city before slamming into an invisible barrier. The adventurer watches in horror as the creature manifests itself, revealing the terrible illusion of disease. This is a grim vision of the coming apocalypse. Any land touched by its foul saliva will be permanently choked by the suffocating stench of death. He warns them to wait, for as Delezi, the Black Plague, he will guarantee their absolute doom. The Elder realizes this monster is behind the recent chaos, and the Queen agrees that everything is playing out exactly as predicted by the Pathfinder who just arrived to assist them. His goal is to clear up the conflict with humans. But now that they have witnessed the Apostles, they must realize how insanely powerful this entity is. Delezi destroys everything in its path. For the sake of the world, this monster must die. Because of this, the Elven Kingdom finally agrees to team up with the Human Alliance. Now let's follow the adventurer, who rushes toward North Mire. But look at this, the green city of Grozny is already under a brutal attack. Desperate screams ring out to hold the line. They cannot let these beasts breach their home, but they are completely outnumbered and cannot fight alone. They call out to Michelle, who channels a powerful spell, launching magic blasts that stun the advancing monsters. She tells everyone to hold on just a bit longer because losing this city is not an option. After all, this place is a safe haven for the ciphers, people born with special abilities who are treated like freaks and mistakes by the outside world. This sanctuary, Greenable, was the only place they could live peacefully. If it falls, they will be forced back into a life of brutal discrimination. She wonders what is going on, seeing the dead rise again, behaving like mindless, wild animals. They are doing everything in their power to contain the infection, but they have no idea how much longer they can hold out against this tide. Suddenly, she senses that something has breached their defensive barrier. She orders them to hold this flank while she runs off to investigate the threat. She sprints ahead, wondering what could have caused the breach until she arrives and freezes in total shock. Right before her eyes, a mysterious human has just appeared out of nowhere and completely obliterated all the monsters. Honestly, our protagonist thought he was a goner after falling down that golden sinkhole, but he survived thanks to that giant tentacle power on his sword. Even though he arrived too late to join that dungeon's story, he managed to bypass everything using a teleportation potion, leaving the poor adventurer behind to travel all the way on foot. This is the very first dungeon of the northern city, Greenable, and it looks like he arrived just in the nick of time. He figures he has to take charge to make sure everything goes smoothly, but suddenly a voice calls out. The girl demands to know how he got inside, and he instantly recognizes her as the famous cipher, Michelle Monaghan. She points out the outside is crawling with infected monsters. So, how did he slip through? Our hero casually replies he was just looking to investigate the area. Deep down, he knows that lame excuse will not work. She is notoriously hostile to outsiders and will not even accept help from the adventurer. But surprisingly, she says his arrival is actually perfect, assuming he came from the principality to help. She guesses his friends are looking for a safe place to take refuge as well. This completely catches our hero off guard. He asks if they really need his help. She says yes, and just asks for information. But when he asks her why, it visibly startles her. But our boy drops a bombshell. He explains that he is actually there to hunt down ciphers, just like her. He can see the corruption is already taking root in this place. She asks if he is seriously going through with this, while our hero realizes this is definitely veering off the game's original storyline. He snaps at her to shut up, calling her a disgusting mutant. He knows she is the one behind all of this chaos, and he needs to keep her fully off guard. She snaps, calling normal people truly disgusting. She summons her monsters, and trust me, you and I are about to see one hell of a fight break out. Alright, you and I are about to watch our main character run right into serious trouble just as the sounds of a nearby sword fight catch his attention. He recognizes those lethal blade skills instantly. Our hero realizes he cannot let Michelle reject this potential help. Thinking fast, he steps in and plays along, loudly claiming the legendary adventurer arrived much earlier than expected. He reminds Michelle that this warrior helps everyone, including dark elves, and possesses overwhelming, godlike strength. Under pressure, their only option is to flee, leaving behind a warning to stay alert. This clearly irritates the woman, but before she can react, a new figure approaches, demanding her name. Louise, the notorious queen of poisons, introduces herself and the adventurer beside her, explaining they are here to investigate the plague. She casually asks if they can assist them right now, but the woman coldly dismisses them, refusing to speak with ordinary humans. Our main character hopes this interaction settles the issue, though he notes the letter still hasn't shown up. It turns out this isn't true corruption, but just a symptom. This means the situation might be identical to the infected tavern knights or the mysterious book they found. The mastermind behind this is Hildur, who has set her extreme plans in motion. Suddenly, a lightning-fast flash of movement cuts through the air, knocking the girl's hat clean off. The adventurer promises to defeat her gently without causing harm, while her companion tries to de-escalate, pleading for peaceful dialogue. Meanwhile, our hero realizes they are heading straight to the next dungeon. He immediately follows them deep into the North Mire dungeon, aiming for the village of pain known as Rashbon to find Desi. A terrifying wave of dark energy is constantly pouring from the area, but the adventurer and her allies stay safe, protected by an active barrier blocking the plague. Recalling her oath to protect the ciphers, she urges everyone to stay focused. Meanwhile, hiding in a nearby alley, our main character frantically begs Azul to stop and listen to him first. Suspecting a threat, she demands to know his true identity. But pay attention here, Hildur's real plan is to manipulate these adventurers into slaying the apostles, and protecting them will ruin everything she wants. To stop this, a secret organization called the Hunters of Greed was formed. This woman is their leader, and she demands to know why he followed her and what his ultimate goal is. She was closely monitoring the adventurer. Though basic potions and antidotes help temporarily, their effects quickly fade, making a strong barrier absolutely essential, which is something Michelle simply cannot provide. Desperate for this NPC's assistance, our hero steps forward and introduces himself as June. He offers a plan, pointing out their shared interest in stopping Hildur and saving the apostle. However, she remains highly skeptical, deeply questioning whether this is truly the right path to take. Our main character explains that the hunters exist solely to prevent the apocalypse. Protecting the ancient apostles is not their final destination, but just a crucial stepping stone to save their world. He tells her she does not need to trust him completely right now. They both want to thwart Hildur's evil plans. Their methods might differ slightly, but their ultimate goal remains exactly the same. Hearing a phrase once spoken by someone dear to her, she falls dead silent, staring intensely at our main character. Finally, lowering her weapon, she admits he knows far more than she expected. She agrees to drop the questioning as a personal favor. Our hero quickly explains that Desi is waiting in the ruins of Rashbon, and he must go help the adventurer. The woman nods in understanding. In exchange for his assistance, she grants our main character a protective shield, which should keep him safe from the deadly effects of the spreading plague. She challenges him to prove his worth by surviving the dangerous journey. Right then, our main character's game interface suddenly flashes open before his eyes. And yeah, I know what you're thinking. But get this. Without even fighting, his level suddenly shoots up from event experience. Talk about a lucky break. Spotting the adventurer nearby, he warns his companion Taco to stay sharp because failure is not an option. Arriving at the designated coordinates, a heavy sigh echoes through the air. Standing before them is the sixth apostle, mocking them as Hildur's brainless puppets. Undeterred, they prepare to face a terrifying immortal monstrosity that completely defies the concept of death. The blonde companion notices the corruption hasn't shown up yet, but warns that Hildur is about to rip a massive tear in the fabric of spacetime itself. This dimensional subspace unleashes a violent storm designed to pull in immortal beings. They will endlessly regenerate inside this void, completely sealed away until the world itself meets its final end. But the battle takes a shocking turn as Desi uses his remaining power to reopen the rift, pulling the adventurer into the void. Watching from a distance, our hero sees the creature mock their desperate efforts as useless. A brutal blow sends the woman crashing violently into a ruined wall. Her allies scream in panic as they witness her energy shield rapidly failing. Our main character feels the sudden shock too, instantly coughing up blood as the protective barrier shatters. Seeing him in pain, his companion panics, completely overwhelmed with worry. Down and heavily wounded, Alia never expected to be pushed this far, yet she must find the strength to hold out until the beast is finally sealed away. She begs them to act before the entire world is consumed by this unending plague. Suddenly, a barrage of sharp thorns flies forward, striking our protagonist directly in the chest. His eyes widen as the monster roars in triumph. Gripped by agonizing pain, his vision starts fading, and his consciousness begins slipping deep into a dark point of no return. In his final moments, he remembers his past life as a simple streamer, staring at a wall of fading memories. But just as he accepts death, a voice breaks through the void, commanding him to fight. A familiar silhouette appears, literally severing the cold grip of death right before him. Reminding him that he alone controls his destiny in this new world, hope surges back. Gasping for air, he wakes up, hearing his companion crying tears of relief nearby. Shocked, he wonders how his fatal wounds healed so completely. His companion continues weeping tears of joy, while the suffocating dark smoke clears, finally allowing them to breathe easy. He asks if the monster is sealed and if the battle is over. Though confused about how the rift opened, the creature is gone, meaning they somehow claimed victory. But our hero immediately senses that something is dangerously wrong. The adventurer is still standing here, even though she should have vanished alongside the final boss. Standing up, he realizes this anomaly is the exact corruption he needs to resolve. His companion yells out in confusion, demanding to know what he is planning. He explains that he must reopen the dimensional rift. Although he doesn't know how, an instinct deep inside tells him he has the power to do it. But doing so will expose him to the toxic plague without any potions left. He warns his companion to watch closely, as failing here means facing a devastating penalty. He forces himself to quiet his mind and concentrate. Feeling a tiny crack tear between the dimensions, his eyes are suddenly consumed by the dark energy he wields. And that's where we leave it, with our main character pushing his limits to force open the rift. Trust me, you're going to want to see what happens next. Alright, you and I are jumping right into a brutal fight where toxic poison pours from a cosmic rift, hitting him hard. But he refuses to back down, screaming out with every last ounce of his strength. Suddenly, a monstrous hand reaches through the rift, lunging straight toward our paralyzed adventurer. Before she can even react, the beast grabs her tight, getting ready to drag her into the dark abyss. Just like that, the chaotic ritual is shattered, leaving everyone stunned. Honestly, if our main character had not stepped in, Hildur's evil scheme would have definitely succeeded. They desperately call out for the adventurer as our exhausted protagonist drops to his knees. He admits he took a massive gamble without knowing if it would work, praising his ally for playing her part perfectly. She threw him those healing potions at the perfect moment, after all. But as he glances around, he completely misses a brand new path opening up right behind him. The Poison Queen refuses to believe the adventurer is gone. Meanwhile, the mage spots a tiny companion, absolutely panicked and crying out after realizing her master has completely vanished into thin air. We see through our main character's eyes as he looks back, getting violently sucked into a rip in spacetime itself. He tries to hold on, but his grip slips. He screams for his little pet as she gets left behind. Suddenly, he tumbles into a desolate void filled with debris, where a massive storm of raw energy is brewing. Agony surges through him as blood pours out. He feels like his entire body is being ripped apart piece by piece, but right then, a blinding light suddenly appears in front of him. He is shocked to see the adventurer standing perfectly still right there, just as a strange, glowing aura starts to materialize all around her. A protective barrier suddenly manifests out of thin air, shining like a brilliant full moon in this dark, chaotic dimension. Now pay attention here, because our hero instantly sprints forward, using every bit of his speed to slide inside that barrier before it completely seals shut. He draws his sword, leaps toward the closing rift, and slashes hard to clear any obstacles. Shattering the space like brittle glass, he tumbles through, letting out a heavy sigh of relief as safety finally wraps around him. Yet, the tear in reality remains wide open. Suddenly, Imperial soldiers approach, but our deadly adventurer quickly wipes them out using her incredible skills. She mutters about their endless ghost army experiments, coldly demanding to know who dared to invade her domain. Watching from above, our main character realizes this is her awakening story, meaning he is currently inside a temporary phantom dungeon. In this game, heroes must relive their deepest trauma to unlock their true power. La Mina is currently facing dark illusions of her tragic past, completely unaware that our main character is standing right beside her. Outside, this glowing shield blocks the devastating dimensional storm, which is the only thing keeping him alive right now. One step outside means instant death. But suddenly, a strange rustling sound catches his ear. He turns around slowly, and his heart drops as he spots an incredibly familiar shadow looming close. It is Delis, desperately searching for any tiny crack to slip inside. Our protagonist shudders, realizing that being immortal in a place like this is a true curse. Deciding to ignore Delis, he focuses on keeping up with the adventurer. Once she awakens, she will rip open a portal back home, and if he misses his chance, he will be trapped here forever. I know what you were thinking, just stay quiet and follow her, right? But then, he hears a wet drip on the floor. Fear hits him as he realizes the monster found exactly what it wanted. A tiny, damp creature squeezes through the microscopic gap. He quickly realizes that tiny crack from his entry is now spreading corruption. The liquid creature plops onto the ground in front of him, slowly reshaping its body while staring right into his soul. Our blonde hero realizes he is absolutely screwed. The beast glares at him, recognizing him instantly, and viciously declares it will find a way back to its home. It wants back into the demon world, which our hero cannot allow. Suddenly, the beast senses another nearby presence. Its gaze locks onto the adventurer, realizing she is Helder's puppet, and vows to slaughter her. But our protagonist immediately unleashes a shadow wave to stop it. The beast screeches, demanding to know who he is while launching rapid attacks. From its fluid form, a sharp spike shoots directly at his eye, aiming to kill him instantly. Thinking fast, he teleports away at the absolute last second. This is the worst possible matchup for him, especially since his deadly poison is somehow not doing a single thing. But he shrugs it off, realizing this is his only shot, and unleashes a massive wave of dark energy. The monster remembers everything, screaming that it is all that woman's fault as it charges. A brutal battle explodes in the background, while the adventurer remains focused on her trial. Jinsen teleports repeatedly, desperately dodging the beast's erratic strikes. These attacks are totally unpredictable, and worst of all, the monster keeps regenerating. Dodging another swing, the beast taunts him for running, but a purple light flares from below as Jinsen charges a massive shadow ball, channeling 200% of his power into a devastating dark crush that slams directly into the creature. He stands there, panting heavily from the exertion. Knowing he can't kill it outright, he just needs to wear down its regeneration. If he can buy enough time, he might just survive this, but he misses a sneak attack from behind. Sharp spikes pierce him before he can react, blood spraying everywhere as he crashes down, badly wounded. The monster grins, mocking his iron instincts. It lunges forward, stabbing him with spikes over and over, laughing that it would be so much easier if he just died already. But suddenly, the ceiling shatters. The entire dungeon begins to collapse, and our protagonist realizes the absolute worst-case scenario is unfolding right now. He curses, realizing the adventurer has successfully awakened. The beast spots the exit through the crumbling ruins, but our hero yells at it to shut up, refusing to let it escape. But the demon dog snarls, mockingly suggesting they both get torn apart by the storm while it happily tears his world to pieces. Jinsen asks if this is some sick joke, knowing that letting this beast escape will cause an unforgivable catastrophe in the human world. Unspeakable slaughter would follow this hellhound's arrival. The monster just sighs, finding it amusing that everyone tries to kill him simply for the crime of existing. Jinsen snaps back that it is just a puppet, locking his hands around the beast to ensure it can never return to the demon world. The beast bolts toward the light, mocking him for acting tough despite being trash. And that is where we leave things for now. With the beast escaping, the barrier shattering, and our hero trapped in the eye of the storm. Alright, let's jump straight into this epic clash as the beast sprints for the exit while our hero begs. Suddenly, the rift snaps shut, leaving the creature completely stunned as a blinding light pours from above. The boy did it. Closing it was way easier than opening it anyway. Realizing the kid trapped him, the plague dog snarls, demanding to know how a mere human pulled off such a trick. It lunges forward, roaring at him to open the rift this instant. But the young warrior ready clashes with his sword, blocking every single vicious strike coming his way. Calling him a worthless insect, the beast presses on, completely unaware that a massive tentacle is about to smash directly into its skull. The impact hurls Jin Sung hard against the wall, while the giant beast writhes in agony from losing a massive chunk of its physical form. Out of breath, Jin Sung realizes he has absolutely zero stamina left to keep fighting like this. He tells the monster to show some gratitude since he literally just saved its life. Confused and completely exhausted, the massive beast warns the boy to stay out of its way. Staring at the beast, Jin Sung realizes something deep. If this creature really wanted to, it could easily spread its deadly plagues across all of Arid. Yet, it never chose to leave Rashun. He asks if it even knows why it stayed. Furious and highly irritated, the beast barks back, telling him to shut his mouth immediately. The blonde hero calls the beast pathetic for looking at life and death with such a narrow mind. He knows that deep down, this conscious monster doesn't want destruction. It just wants to go back to its home where it can find peace and play. This just makes the demonic hound even angrier, snarling at him to shut up right now. Thinking of its name, Jin Sung realizes he might be the only human alive who actually understands this abandoned monster. After all, he knows exactly what it feels like to be completely cast aside. Because, given the choice, both of them just want to go home. Furious, the beast snaps back, asking how an insect like him could ever understand the sheer depth of its loneliness and pain, screaming at him to stop talking. But check this out, Jin Sung knows exactly how it feels. He was also dropped into a hostile world where literally everything was trying to kill him. Having monsters try to tear you in half every single day is honestly a massive pain. With a sudden strike, our hero kicks the giant beast's chin, sending it stumbling back. He tells the monster he understands because he was just living a normal life before waking up here, forced to fight for survival every single day. All he ever wanted was to return home, gaze at the calm sky, and recognize the familiar stars of the world he loved. That was his only source of true happiness. The beast pauses, realizing it actually has something in common with this fragile human. Jin Sung quickly urges the monster to listen closely, pointing out that the dimensional rift in spacetime is not fully sealed just yet. Though the gap is tiny, he can still sense it and reopen it. The monster tells him to do it, but Jin Sung warns that fleeing now is useless because Hildur will detect them instantly. The beast tries to argue, but Jin Sung cuts it off, stating that in its current weakened state, it stands zero chance against her. You and I both know Hildur is a supreme mage capable of manipulating literal apostles, but what if there is a wild card she never anticipated? It turns out some key players are simply refusing to exit the grand stage just yet. Hildur believes the beast is dead, making this the perfect chance to hide and prepare for the upcoming climax. This plan guarantees a shot at the ultimate revenge against the one who orchestrated all this pain. This is not a trap or a manipulation tactic, it is a fair trade. Jin Sung extends his hand, asking Alasir to join forces with him to take down their common enemy. He asks the beast if it is really staying behind, urged to wait. To be completely honest, Jin Sung had a perfect chance to escape on his own and leave this nightmare behind. Yet, he chose to stay as the dimensional walls begin to violently shake. With time running out fast, Jin Sung urgently calls out to the silent growling beast, which realizes the pure, dark irony of cooperating with a human. Frustrated by the silence, Jin Sung demands to know if the beast is really willing to get trapped here forever just out of pure ego. He screams her name one last time as the barrier completely shatters. Suddenly, a surge of raw energy tears through Jin Sung's body as darkness consumes his vision. The beast warns him not to get any funny ideas, but admits that this plan is actually quite interesting. If the kid can actually tear Hildur apart, the beast wants proof first. Confused, Jin Sung listens as the monster demands a physical demonstration showing he has the power to back up his promise. The boy quickly grabs a small piece of the talking beast. He confidently tells her that if she is so worried about his strength, she can just see it for herself. The monster splits its flesh into multiple clones. Jin Sung vows that if he fails his end of the bargain, she can execute him on the spot. Amused by his resolve, the beast laughs. Suddenly, a violent storm surges forward, targeting our hero directly, but a protective shield blocks the onslaught. The monster asks what his final escape plan is. Jin Sung points toward the tiny tear in space, explaining they need to squeeze through before it seals shut forever. We can see it is still open, but it will close very soon. He quickly breaks down the escape plan, leaving the beast highly skeptical. But Jin Sung insists that all they need is one massive blast of propulsion to break through. Before they leap, the beast calls out to him, asking for his real name. The boy just smiles, knowing he has finally earned the creature's trust. He charges toward the exit at absolute top speed, teleporting rapidly to build up maximum momentum. Gripping his sword tight, he zeroes in on the closing crack as fast as possible. Ready to break through, he blasts forward, shattering the boundary and crashing back into the real world. A massive crater marks his landing, finally free from that nightmare world. Gasping for air, he relaxes, realizing he actually made it back. But before he can even stand up, his little companion rushes over and wraps him in a tight hug. Wincing in pain, Jin Sung begs him to let go before his injuries kill him. Meanwhile, back inside the dimensional rift, the beast chuckles, whispering that she will wait for Jean. Meanwhile, in another part of the city, officials discuss prioritizing aid for the hospital. The refugees from Northmire desperately need support, and everyone is searching for a chance to finally rest. Sharon has been working tirelessly without a single break since the crisis in Ophelia. Exhausted, she wonders where our hero could possibly be, until a familiar voice calls out to her from behind. It is our main character, weakly asking if she has any spare potions on hand, but before she can answer, he collapses onto the cold ground from his severe wounds. Cut to the Mage Guild, where we see Jin Sung resting quietly in bed. He stirs slightly before slowly opening his eyes, looking around in confusion until realizing he is inside the guild leader's personal room. Sharon asks if he is finally awake. Jin Sung weakly calls her name as she checks on his condition, having personally healed his wounds. Luckily, our boy feels like he is doing pretty well. But his relief turns to shock when she reveals he has been completely unconscious for over a week. Shaken, he sincerely thanks her for keeping his gear safe, but he has no plans of returning the favor. As a bright purple glow fills the room, we are left wondering what dangerous game he is playing, bringing a piece of Delezi into the heart of the city. All right, you and I are jumping right back in as she warns him to report this dangerous situation to the principality immediately. The blonde realizes he is not trying to trick her with some weak excuse. Finally, he confesses that he actually fought the creature in the past. During that encounter, he realized a dark force was using his wild, chaotic powers to corrupt the land, while another enemy launched an attack on Arad. In that moment, he had to defend her alone, which completely infuriates her because so many innocent lives were lost. But he decided to take responsibility for the chaos, striking a risky deal to keep the beast alive so it could get its ultimate revenge. And now, this tiny fragment acts as a silent watcher, making sure he keeps his end of the bargain. Watch closely here. She asks how he dared deal with an apostle, but he practically begs for her help, desperately needing to learn how to control these terrifying powers. She asks if he plans to summon the creature to this world, but he explains he only wants to forge some armor with its power. He just asks for a little trust, as he definitely does not want this deadly plague destroying the city he loves. She reminds him how much they have already suffered. But in the end, she decides to act like she heard absolutely nothing from this conversation. She immediately performs a hand seal to lock the secret away, washing her hands of the whole situation. He quickly thanks her, even though she makes it clear she still does not agree with his dangerous choices. She is simply returning the favor since he saved her homeland, but she still doubts if he can actually purify the plague and extract an apostle's immense power, especially since it will take some time. I know what you're thinking, what about his gear? Well, she points to the side, revealing his tentacle sword is completely shattered. His tiny pet octopus starts panicking because it was a vital part of the weapon. Now he has no idea where to go since his crafting materials are completely gone. He desperately needs a replacement for that giant tentacle, but with his recent level ups and over 100 million gold in his pockets, he can easily buy something way better. Suddenly, a strange scent catches his attention. As he wonders what it is, he overhears nearby adventurers chatting about some peculiar new outfits. Can you believe someone is flaunting such a bizarre, ugly avatar in public? And that is where we leave it today. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe for what happens next.